Let's get started.
Now let's get it all in perspective. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
Do not attempt to adjust your dial. I'm transmitting live. Yo,
Let's get down to business.
Now let's get it all in perspective. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
for the underground world, every street and borough.
You may learn something.
Experience.
You are now listening to the Joe Rogan Experience with Chico, Simon, Kamar, and your host, Matt Floyd.
Welcome to the Joe Rogan Experience. My name is Matt Floyd, joined as always by Kamar
Welcome to the party.
and Simon. Whoop, whoop. That's the sound of the police. What we do here is very simple. The three of us have listened to every episode of the Joe Rogan Experience this week. We're going to rate each episode as well as the week on a scale of 1 to 5 Jamie Vernon's. We're then going to talk about each guest, the talking points, give our opinions, this, that, and the next. Kamar, there's no new patrons, are there? Am I crazy?
Hey guys, thanks for coming back. I'm so glad you guys are all joining us to talk about Joe. Before I get into the Patreons, there's been an overwhelming response to the Legacy program. We have had some systems crashes. Bear with us. We're working it out, but thank you so much. This week, we want to give a big shout out to Taylor Cross.
Are you talking about because I posted it late on Monday?
No, the self-conscious works in mysterious ways, but no, that's not what I mean. I mean, a bunch of people are bequeathing their estate to us, and it's just such an overwhelming response. The system went down, but please, everything's in working order. And also a shout out to French Noble.
Shout out French Noble.
What are we doing? What are we doing here, guys? We're joining
Who was the
Patreon.
first one?
That'd be Taylor Cross.
Taylor
Cross.
What up,
Taylor?
Thank you so much.
Booyah.
Like and subscribe. Tell somebody about it. Get on the YouTube. Leave a comment. Tickle the algorithm. We love you all. Thank you so much.
Tickle the algorithm. All right, you want to go over the two guests so that we can start this goddamn travesty of a show?
I'd love to, Matt. Off the heels of last week, we start off the week with 2160 Billy Carson. And then we had 2161 Tony Hinchcliffe. And lastly, there was an MMA with Tank Abbott, who someone said we should listen to, but I didn't.
I didn't either. Straight up, I didn't.
No, I did start to listen to it, and then I when I clicked on it, there was a window of one of his fights.
Yeah.
And then the history of Tank Abbott, and he was a real mean guy.
Yeah.
He really messed people up.
I mean, he's very old now, too.
But in this one fight, and I'm sure I saw it as a kid, he fought Dan Severn.
Yeah.
And there's at one point, Tank Abbott is on his hands and knees, and Dan Severn is fully grabbing the cage, which I guess was legal then, and driving knees into his head. Like just the craziest thing you could imagine. And Tank took it to his credit, but I didn't listen to it.
Somebody should tell Pat McAfee about me.
That's the weirdest thing to say out of the blue
It's the
while
weirdest thing I've ever
you
heard.
doodle. Yeah.
I don't know. Just, I think
I
he'd
wish
be
you liked me.
interested in that whole field goal thing we did.
Well, I mean, I did send it to him.
Here's this kid with this raw natural talent. I mean, I just feel like he'd get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure.
Like, I don't know if you've ever looked closely at that picture before, but that's like
I took that photo. Simon.
NFL form.
I think if you did that yesterday, we could have a conversation, but that was your prime. You are not that guy.
Yes, is that pre-vaccine or post-vaccine?
Pre-vaccine.
That might be a problem.
That's a big
We
problem.
might have to do a do-over on that.
No, you already specifically were like, I'm never going out. I already hit it. I don't need to
it's
do
true.
anything
I
again because
won't.
you're a real
That's-
fucking anti-team player.
Leave while you're on top.
Yeah, you wouldn't either. You know what I mean?
Well, I already won. I'm a winner no matter what. That's like getting the UFC belt and then being like, I'm retiring. Got the belt. Don't need to defend this.
And just because we have a little time this week because of the lack of episodes,
Yeah.
we were having kind of an argument last week.
Yeah.
And after I got home, I thought of something I should have said. So I'm going to say it now.
Okay, George Costanza.
Yeah. You were like on me about the Jews and how there are these 5 guys in Hollywood and all the power and the corruptness and blah.
Oh, no,
blah,
we
blah.
decided it had nothing to do with Jews.
Well, and I kept going to pedos.
Okay.
That was my retort to you. Catholic pedos, you
Sure,
know what I mean?
yeah.
That shouldn't have been the route I took. It should have been mafia.
Okay.
I shouldn't have been going after your religion. I should have been going after your culture. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, the mafia.
What about the mafia?
Well, just if you want to
Because you're Italian.
Yeah.
Will you
that's
lower
what
your
I'm saying.
fucking
I don't know what
chair
you're
with
talking
your
about.
feet
Thank
dangling
you.
like
Don't
a
know what you're
fucking
talking
asshole?
about.
Anyways, it doesn't matter. I just consider that a win.
Oh, I'm sorry. So you felt like you lost a debate. You
No,
went
no, no.
home.
I didn't feel like I lost. I thought I won kind of unfairly, and now I feel like I won fairly. But it's fine. It's all good.
Interesting how the mind works. Go ahead, Kamar.
I give the week a 2.5.
Simon, you must rate it high as he takes notes aggressively.
I have two minds about this whole thing. I'm gonna have to go with a 3.
I'll go 2.5. Sure. I like what Kamar had. All right, start it up.
2160 Billy Carson.
You know how loudly that's coming
Gotta
through the
stop doing
fucking
that.
mic?
Billy Carson. So
Zacharias.
couple of things before we even get started.
Okay.
One is he sells like some weird things on his website, like some,
Such as?
I don't know, like some special potions and stuff. You know what I mean? He's a weird character.
Do you have some sort of pregnant pause going on right now?
Can you lower your fucking chair?
I want to know though, Simon.
I don't need to stare at your tits, all right?
Is what you're saying that this guy is some sort of snake oil salesman?
No, I'm not saying that at all. Cut all of that out. Let's start again.
Okay.
Okay.
What are you trying to
Do
get
your
at here?
thing, Billy Carson.
Just tell me what you're trying to get at.
I'm
He
not
sells
trying
some
to
weird
get at
stuff on his
anything.
website.
No. Don't worry about it. Billy Carson, start. Come on. I'm sorry.
Tablets.
Tablets.
You have to stop.
Tablets.
That is the first way that we're recording ideas. It was just.
Wouldn't have been cave drawings?
Well, it's before paper is his point.
Okay, I get you, yeah.
And it just seems. If the tablets were from advanced, I mean, if they were done with their brain, that's one thing, but.
And we assume it was before paper. It might have just been a case where these people were smart enough to know that the only thing that lasts can last the test of time is stone. Paper will not last. Our stupid computers and our cloud will not last. Like, we're just a bunch of dummies.
And a
You
good
have
guy
to write it in stone.
could really write his ass off. Or chisel his ass
He
off.
he told you how they did it.
They etched it in.
It was some process he described right at the beginning. But anyways,
I mean, if what Simon's saying, think about what Simon's saying. You become so advanced that at the same time, you know your civilization's going to crumble. Like we right now with lasers could probably etch a ton of stuff into stone.
we should into the hardest stone we can find, marble or whatever the fucking hardest stone out there today is.
Well, is New York City more impressive than the pyramids?
I mean, any city is very impressive. Just think of like
What
the
about Dubai?
infrastructure.
Is Dubai more impressive than the pyramids?
Well, what I'm saying is it's still the most impressive thing we've ever done. No one knows how they did it. The fact that we know how we do stuff now changes.
And yet Dubai will be gone within 1,000 years.
built to stand the test of time.
The
is
test
what we're
of
talking
time.
about.
We don't
Hold on,
care.
though, Simon.
They might have had all sorts of frilly buildings back then too.
Simon, forget the buildings though. You could argue that like in 1,000 years, those palm tree islands will still be there.
Palm tree islands. Sorry, what palm tree islands?
In Dubai, they built a shitload of islands that look like palm trees, and they have houses all over them. You haven't seen that?
Islands that look like palm trees. No,
Yeah.
I have not seen that.
Shut up.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Really?
Why would I lie?
Well, it's just I thought it was like it's called Palm Tree Island in Dubai.
I've never heard of it before.
They have those all over the place. They're massive.
So Billy Carson is from what I understand, saying Zachariah.
Oh, I see. They're like
They're like
Atlantises.
inlets where they've built. They look
gotcha.
like. But my point is in 1,000 years, I get what you're saying. The Burj Dubai might not be there. Like it may have fallen and crumbled, but there will still be some remnants, most likely, unless the oceans. I mean, keep in
the
mind.
ocean level will probably raise, and that's probably what's happened all through time, and that's why they keep finding, like you're saying, cities like that where it's only the base left because the ocean ate it all.
But even then, let's say in 1,000 years the ocean eats it all. They would still archaeologists would find it and be like, these look like, like you know what I mean? It
Okay.
maybe
Would
Just saying.
they?
Oh, who knows?
Point is, the pyramids have outlasted them all.
Maybe that just has to be. Maybe that just has to do with their distance from an ocean.
No, because there are other
'Cause, like, New York
monoliths
City-
that are closer to oceans.
Okay. But it's you don't like what I'm saying is if you believe in Atlantis, there could be a bigger, more impressive pyramid buried under the ocean. somewhere.
100%. For sure. Yeah. Or in Antarctica under the ice.
Sure. Well, but you guys think it's a wall blocking us from the real world.
Whatever it is.
Let's all pray that we wake up one morning and something has come and refurbished the pyramids. That'd be super cool.
That would be cool.
That'd be a moment. That'd be a cool thing. Not as scary as the huge thing in the sky, but just like all of a sudden. Because Billy Carson, I guess, is sure that Zachariah Sitchin's telling of the Anunnaki coming here to get gold, to bring back to their planet is somewhat true. And that we have the secrets of the universe somewhere locked inside our DNA. That's all part of some design.
Well, I don't think he necessarily was saying it was true. I think he was saying that like there was a lot more plausibility to it than anyone was giving. I don't think he was necessarily like everything he said was bang on. Did you get that from what he was saying?
No, I mean, listen, he is not.
I'll give him credit. It felt like he was a little more like I don't know, a little he was given a little more like it could be this, it could be that. Like, you know, a lot of these guys are like very set in stone. Like
Usually when he's on another show, he's a little more set in stone.
Gotcha.
I found being on Rogan, he was like on his best behavior. He didn't even tell his alien story
was he on Schulz's
where
show?
they come into his house, and it's the reason why like his family won't talk to him anymore and shit.
Okay, well that would have been nice to know.
Again, probably good that he left it out because then you wouldn't have believed any of
Yeah.
the episode, you know. But that's probably why he did it, because he just.
But again, I think we learned from last week. Like, if he does the whole episode and then at the end, he's like, "Listen, I know this sounds crazy, but
well, that's what he did.
okay."
He sounds more credible than Terrence Howard. Although Joe says he thinks Terrence Howard is one of the smartest people he's ever met in his life.
I'm not smart enough to know whether Terrence Howard is smart or whatever. I don't know. The fact that Joe calls bullshit on everything,
Yep.
but is willing to like throw that guy a bone
Yeah,
must mean something. That he must know that this guy is like onto something. It's just so weird that he ended up being an actor. And I'm not saying you can't be both. I'm saying though that like if you're that
no, it's very
smart,
weird.
you don't usually end up as an actor.
Yeah, there's no like if you hold many patents, it's not like you're like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try to get into the hardest industry on earth to get into.
It'd be interesting if Joe had asked that in their interview, but I believe that's the last Joe has ever spoke in a.
Well, that or the
Episode.
Cat Williams. Those two episodes probably.
But even then, if you want to do the Cat Williams thing too, it's like you own all these patents, and yet as a black person, you want to get into Hollywood, which has not historically been great to African Americans, right? It's very odd.
It just, yeah. And
Not to
I
mention-
mean, maybe he didn't have all those patents back when he became an actor. Like, when did he get those patents?
I think it's even weirder to be like like auditioning for parts while you're also writing patents. Like, I don't know, that's odd. No,
The whole thing is odd.
I think maybe we are underachievers as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah, oh yeah.
we
That's-
just we don't
yeah.
get it.
It's true.
We don't get it.
No, that's a good
much
point.
with their time.
We can't even do one thing, let alone 17 at the same time.
Yeah, you might have really hit the nail on the head there, Kumar.
Is it strange that the war and killing persists? Like, is that just part of our DNA if we are created and stuff? And to think of this peace thing is just maybe futile?
Simon, I beg you.
I'm sorry.
Is war? Yes, I think we will always be like this.
Where we have this sort of concerning thing. And therefore, if we have to get off the planet, which Billy says we have to do,
Yeah.
and Elon says we have to do, and a lot of people do say, like, whether it's impending or just eventually the way universes are known to work, the sun will expand and Earth will be destroyed no matter what. So it's sort of futile to try to save it.
Imagine, oh my God, I just thought of this. Imagine if every civilization we thought went extinct actually
Just left.
fled the planet.
Successfully.
We don't fucking know.
We do not.
Yeah, the pyramids could have just been the last thing they left.
They could be spaceship. Maybe that's stupid, but maybe. You know what I mean? And they're just like the ones, yeah, exactly. They didn't take with them.
I mean, a stone spaceships just seem like, listen, I'm with you that we don't understand all technology, but I don't care how advanced you are. Building a spaceship out of loose stone.
For sure, but you also know that in a lot of like sci-fi movies you've seen, they go in, they press one button.
Yeah, and the thing opens up. I get it.
No, the stone becomes
Okay, sure.
metal or whatever.
Sure.
you know?
Yeah.
It was just a
I mean, listen, if you're
a
that
ruse all along.
Simon, if you're that advanced, there's nothing's off the table, right? Like you can't be like, well, that's impossible.
It is funny how when we talk about things coming here, we put them at a certain level of advancement. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
No, there's no
We
level.
have no
That's what I'm
idea
saying.
what the threshold even is. I was thinking about this the other day. Like humans are humans, whatever we are, whatever we look like, whatever these meat suits are. You know what I mean? Aliens, we say look like grays or whatever. And I know sometimes they say, oh, there's the tall whites and there's this one and that one. Like, why would we even assume that any of them would be bodied things? You know what I mean? Maybe they're dust particles.
I was just gonna say amoebas,
jellyfish.
We have no, and again, those are human things.
Yeah.
Like maybe it's nothing like that. Maybe it's a beam of sun. Like who fucking knows? Who knows?
I agree.
It's crazy to think about.
The wildest thing that I thought they talked about was there's less hours on other planets.
Or more.
Or more days are different. Like, so time as we know it is, I think, arbitrary. Us saying it's 20, 24, right, based off what record keeping was, like how.
It's not that arbitrary,
It's
though.
not, because we live a finite amount of time. If we live forever, it would be totally arbitrary.
Like, Kamar, the point we're making is like whether you, let's say you went to Mars and all of a sudden a year is longer, you would still use Earth time.
You'd want to sleep for 8 hours.
Well, yeah. Like, well, didn't this guy say we're more like the circadian rhythm is more attuned to Mars than it is to Earth? Didn't he say that?
That's interesting.
And then, yes, he did say that.
Well,
he did say that.
Yes,
That's
he did
because
say
he's
that.
a firm believer in the idea that Mars used to be a populated planet.
But if you look at the North Pole or Antarctica, allegedly a day is 6 months and a night is 6 months.
Right. It's just, yeah.
So what time is that?
What time? They're still going by a
day is
year
still-
is 360 days.
Sun up, sun
and
down.
Months are still 30 days. They
'Cause we
just
impose
don't,
those
they
on
don't
them.
have light.
We impose those on them.
Well, those
No,
are
but
the
Kumar,
rules
listen.
of this world.
Kamar, if right now you want to say I'm 2 years
You
old, and
son of a bitch.
if you want to say I'm 2 years old and use some weird like, well, I live dog years, where a year in my world is only like 26 years, then you can do that if you'd like.
Good on you. You'll be dead in 3 years.
Yeah, we just
but we can't do that.
You can do whatever you
Well,
want.
a 10-year-old can say, I identify as 21. Give me that case of beer.
No, but what he's saying is you can decide to see time any way you want.
Yes.
You're still only here for a certain amount of, in air quotes, time.
Yeah. He hates it.
However you want to look at that, whether that be 360 times 40 years that you have left, or if you want to do it in dog years, it's going to be, a different equation, but it's going to end up at the same place.
I get your point. But are leap years weird when there's just an extra 24 hours in a whole year?
Yeah, listen, if you want to say the whole thing is weird,
Yes.
I'm with you 100%. It all just seems like arbitrary numbers they put on.
I mean, it seems that way, but when you think about the way the way that the seasons move and the lunar cycle, like it's insane that someone I've said this before, like the fact that someone sat down and created the calendar in time is fucking bananas.
Well,
It's
there's
nuts.
all sorts of different calendars too. Like,
Yeah, I realize that.
Or what's the purpose?
well, to keep track of time. You have a finite number of years, and it's to keep track of those years. And then I guess for history's sake, so we know.
Well, don't forget too, there was always there was a reason, Kamar. Like time zones are because of trains. Because once they created trains, it was a nightmare without time zones.
Time zones are long after our whole schedule, if we can call it that, was created.
Yeah, but I'm just saying it all stemmed from some sort of necessity, I would imagine.
Just picking January, the months. It's very strange.
It's very strange.
I would say that almost be a course how this happened. But it's just the Gregorians made a calendar. I believe that's what it is. Is that
It
what
all
was?
started somewhere, but I bet you that the Rockefellers have their hands in some sort of calendar nonsense.
No.
They needed the day to be a little bit longer so they could milk a little more money out of their
It doesn't matter.
You'll hate
slaves
it.
in the field
You'll
or
hate it.
whatever.
If
you say a Jewish thing, I swear to God, we're not in charge of time.
No, it was the Pope.
Oh, that
So
makes
calm your
more,
fucking self
that
down.
makes more sense.
Yeah. The Pope created the calendar.
The Gregorian, that
I
it was
believe
Pope
so, yeah.
Gregory.
I don't know which Pope, but I'm almost certain it was one of the popes who created the
Well, that's not good. If the Catholic Church created the calendar, but they didn't, because there was the Mayan calendar, there was the
but the calendar we use, yeah.
right, but everybody was keeping track of
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, I understand.
somehow.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Well, we need time and space, like coordinates, to function.
Yeah.
You need a time and a place if you're going to meet someone in the future.
If you're going to meet someone, period.
Yep.
What
Well,
if you
it's
wanna-
always in the future.
Yeah, I was
What
just
if
gonna
you
say,
want
yeah,
to?
it is, yeah.
What if you want to meet someone in the past?
You would also need a...
You'd have to time travel, and then I think you would die, according to Billy Carson. I think he stepped into the three-body problem, which would be another wild thing. I've always said.
You've always said the three-body problems for the last 3 months.
Neptune
since you've
pulled
known
us out of orbit, and it just everything changes all of a sudden, which is what we think is maybe not the same way. Like there's it's a gyroscope within a gyroscope of a gyroscope. But really, no one knows.
Well, I don't know if you remember me ranting about Operation whatever the fuck it was, Jellyfish, where they launched the nukes into outer space.
Okay.
Just to see what happens. That's that type of three-body problem where you knock yourself a little bit out of orbit, and then, like Kamar is saying, Mercury grabs a hold of you instead of the moon holding you. Like, we don't know by what hair we're being kept in this perfect Goldilocks zone.
No, we know that we move
well,
like
we-
it's...
we
I think
assume
it's-
we are.
I think that
Well, that's how you know it's fake.
they say we move like, I don't know, 2 inches away from the sun every year or something like that.
2 inches away from the sun every year.
So we are pulling away from the sun very, very
well,
slowly.
everything in the universe is pulling away from the sun.
No, because everything in the universe isn't circling the sun.
Sorry,
everything in our solar system.
our solar system is pulling away from the sun.
That's probably correct, Simon. Yeah.
It's not just us.
Yeah.
It's like the
Yeah.
whole thing.
When you said the universe, I was a bit confused.
But like
yeah.
Joe was talking about this week at some point, like even just with that new telescope,
the James Webb.
the Webb, which is getting us 1,000,000 times farther, I don't know the number, than the Hubble.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just still nothing. You know what I mean? Like in another 10 years or 50 years, we'll have another telescope that's going to be able to see 1,000 times farther than that one. And we're probably just going to keep seeing things that we don't like. They're already pushing the beginning of the universe back.
Yeah, but I mean, that's how science works, right? They take an educated guess, they get more information.
They kill the people who said it was wrong at the time, and then honor them years later.
Yeah.
Once the people have forgotten that they killed them.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the space of. Oh, I forgot what I was going to say there. But no, back to my point. If the Earth is moving away from the sun, there's no point to save it. To work so hard, we're just going to leave it anyways.
Well, I mean, it's
hold
moving
on.
at 2 inches, and I don't even think it's 2 inches.
No, I think I gave it way more.
I think it's like 2 millimeters a year. Anyway, I don't know what the number is. That's not going to happen for thousands and thousands and thousands. And you're just like, fuck it now. Let's just blow the
I always
bitch
say
up.
let's work on the oceans. I always say that. But for everything else,
Well, wait a minute.
The
that-
oceans
hold
are
on.
still on the planet.
Yeah, that's part of.
I can accept oceans from pollution.
But the
I
ocean,
can. It's like separate the art from the artist.
What are you even talking about?
Try to clean up the plastic of the ocean.
Yeah.
Drill, baby, drill. You get it?
Do a good thing over here and a bad thing over here?
I don't think it's a bad thing.
Well, Kamar, here's what you're missing,
solar
though.
or wind just overtakes, then so be it. Or nuclear.
Well, yeah,
Or
but
hydrogen, like Billy said.
that's what you're missing, though, is like all the fossil fuels we're burning are melting the ice caps. That is happening. That's not, there's no denying
The
that.
dinosaur blood we burn?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. My point though is like if the sea levels keep rising, we lose like 80% of the populated cities on Earth, which is not great.
But we're here for a good time, not for a long time.
Well, that's because we're here for a good time, not a long time. If a long time ago we had said we're here for a long time and not a good time,
If
Well,
we
the
live,
fact
if
that
we live
we-
forever, I can see being a steward of the planet.
The fact that we build our biggest populated cities right next to the water
but we did that before we
is
polluted
pretty
the shit.
short-sighted of us.
No, again, we didn't
It
expect.
doesn't have anything to do with pollution. It just has to do with the fact that
I know it's easy. It was easier to move things via the water.
no, I'm saying just over time, you can see that things change, water levels, whatever. You're better off building a little more inland, no?
Well, no, because again, when we moved goods through water, that was the easiest way. You would build a port city, and the port cities got the biggest, and that's kind of how we ended up this way.
Yep. Then that's why they're all gonna fucking fall into the ocean.
Well, it's not falling in. They're like, whoa.
Well, they crumble into the ocean, whatever you want to
It
say.
still is the idea that we think that we'll just figure it out of transporting the materials. Because Billy also said there's a planet that's just like Earth called Sirius, sorry.
Sirius 1, I think it is.
Sounds like a great rap name.
Anyways,
But you would need nanobots or some sort of AI bot that could build itself, build a factory to build other things to build. Do you get what I mean? You just can't get there with a supply of oxygen unless there's oxygen you can just breathe and get out of the ship and sort of build a hut.
are you talking about the aliens that are coming here or us going
No,
somewhere
he's talking
else?
about us going somewhere else.
The aliens have been here, according to Billy.
No, but again, maybe oxygen means nothing to them. So,
Or it's acid to them.
sure.
That would be great.
Well,
If
that
our-
would
just our
make sense.
atmosphere is caustic to them.
Those grays were just a suit, like a hazmat suit,
membrane.
You know? It would make sense. They're kind of all look exactly the same. Big eyes so that you can see out of them.
Through all this, Billy is optimistic. But Billy could be crazy.
Billy is optimistic for what?
That we're going to be all right. When you hear him talk about kings that ruled for 1,600 years and things like that, that's when it's troublesome. Or maybe they didn't have a grasp of time, and those information saying that it was actually he was only in charge for 12 months, but we thought that, I don't know.
Well, keep in mind too, we have people on Earth right now. Like if you think that Kim Jong-un isn't telling his people, like, you're gonna tell people when I die that I ran this place for 1,600 fucking years, and you're gonna write it in the books. And if you don't, and people are like, yeah, no, you ran this place for six. Like,
That's definitely one way to look at it, for sure.
I'm just saying that's not out of the realm of possibility.
It's not out of the realm of possibilities. Let me lay something out for you, Matt.
Oh, here we
Let's
go.
say that way back in the day, you have humans and then you have Anunnaki, which are a race of giant people that the humans look at as gods because they're so different than maybe the Anunnaki are from another planet, let's say.
Yeah.
They have technology that we don't understand. They can do things we don't understand, but they do like to fuck our women. And then they fuck our women. They make these hybrids. Okay. Then that hybrid, this goes on and on and on and on for generations and generations. And the further we get from the original fucking, the more we lose any of the magical powers that we once had. You know what I'm saying?
Can I ask you a question, Simon, real
And
quick?
we're here now, humans, we're still kind of magical, but
Or
we've lost
we may be
everything.
the ultimate magical, but it's locked in our DNA.
Well, we're
How many-
just so far away from original source, I guess is my point.
What percentage of the women on Earth, just ballpark figure, do you think you would fuck? You have no wife. You're single Simon. Like, what percentage of women on Earth? Let's say there's 4 billion women.
That's such a weird question. I mean, probably like 95%.
That's what I was going to say.
Really? 95%. So if we look at the States, 50% of the women are obese. You're still tapping.
Well, how obese?
How many of those women have penises?
How
Well,
obese?
none of them.
You hateful person.
No, but so really, 90. You're just slinging dick into everything.
That's a lot of people. That's a lot. Okay, let me start again.
Because Kamar, I believe.
80%.
Wow, still wildly high. Okay, that's fine. But okay, so when you walk out, then let's take this slightly further.
No, that's too high too.
Yeah,
Maybe
80 is
like
way too high.
65%.
Sure, still
There you go.
very high, but that's fine. I'll accept that number, a little more acceptable.
65%.
So on Earth, women that are the same species as you, you're still only down to fuck around, let's just ballpark it, around 50% of them. 65, you said, sure.
Okay, 50. Let's go with 50.
Let's just go with 50. Do you think that you're going to go to another planet and that, what do you think the odds are that you're going to be attracted to the thing that lives there? Like, you're going to want to fuck it so bad.
A thing on another planet?
Yeah. Like, isn't that just so, like, that just seems very odd to me. Now, here's the thing. If you're in space for like 20 years and you haven't fucked, like, it's like prison, and you get down on some planet and there's just something to fuck, like, okay, I guess I'm with you there, but you're also putting on the Anunnaki. You're doing what you told me not to do earlier, which is putting human emotions on them. Like, it's weird to me to think that the Anunnaki would even show up and be like, we want to fuck. Like, isn't that odd? We're going to fuck your women and take your gold. That seems like the most human thing I've ever heard of.
Hold on. We can go back a step here.
Sure.
Let's take the whole alienness out of it.
Okay.
Okay. Anunnaki are from Earth.
Okay.
They've been here as long or longer than humans, just based on some sort of evolution.
Okay.
They have some sort of power that's just innate to them. I don't know why. Not everything's explainable. And run that same, you know what I mean? Like, they don't have to be aliens. So they're,
But even then, like-
they're a better form of us in
Okay.
the evolutionary scale. It starts going down at some point for some reason. I don't know. You know what I mean? And they still want to fuck you. It's like donkeys and horses. It's like wolves and coyotes. It's like wolves and dogs. And then the further you get from source, like I said, the more you're like from a wolf to a fucking pug. The wolf still wants to fuck the pug, Matt.
Does it?
Oh, if it gets that pug alone, it's definitely fucking
No,
that pug.
it's going to eat it.
It's going to fuck it and then eat it.
What about Joe's
You don't know
theory?
anything about the wilderness.
This guy
Sorry,
watches
go
2
on.
seasons of Alone, and he's a fucking expert. Go ahead.
I guess it's not Joe's theory, but the Neanderthals would hunt humans. And they were like a monster. They could be like a Bigfoot.
That could be it.
And my problem is they're around for a long time.
More likely, they all lived at the same time and were just at war with each other the same way we are at war with other humans that look different from us.
Yeah, when that brings us back to dinosaurs and how if they were here for so many years, more than we have been.
Way more. When you look at like one of those Mesozoic eras, like we've done this before.
They make a chunk of the
Mesozoic is, just make it up, 600 million years. And then the Pleistocene is 900 million year or whatever it is. And then there's the human time. That's this tiny little thing. Like that's the best stat, that the Tyrannosaurus Rex is further in time from the Triceratops or the Stegosaurus than we are from the Tyrannosaurus Rex.
But wouldn't it just make sense? And then maybe they all make it up and it's not actually dinosaurs, but fossil fuels then. Does it just seem like in the same way the mushroom is there for us to expand our minds and stuff, the fuel is there for us to use? I mean, it just worked out that way? Or is it just corruption? We should be on hydrogen by now.
I mean, I don't understand any of it really. Kamar, the fact that the fuel is real fossil fuels is like mind boggling. It's one of those things they tell you, I'm sure, at some point, and you're just like, oh, cool. And you fucking put it in the filofax of your brain and then never think about it again.
How old are you? The filofax, the Rolodex.
Whatever, man. It's just like literally, it's one of those perfect. I can't.
It's one of those perfect.
I can't do this.
It's one of those perfect. Don't do this right now, man.
It's one of those perfect, like we're the exact distance from the sun and the moon and this and that to make everything just. That's for our universe to be, or for our solar system to be created so that Earth can survive, let alone every little thing on the planet that needs to happen properly so we survive. It's crazy.
And then the saying that they're like, we can explain everything, but there's one thing. So just take our word for it. This is what we think it was. And then everything else lines up. And it's sort of like that same idea where if you are just a bit off when you start, when you get further down the road, you're miles apart.
Just you mean them describing history. Like they think that they're doing the right thing by telling a tiny little lie here. And by the time it reaches you, thousands of years later, the Burj
exactly what I'm trying to
Khalifa
say.
looks like the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say.
Clip it, Matt.
Matt.
Dr. Flatthew Discman.
He went through a bunch of stuff that said the pyramids are the average of all the mountains on the planet. But Joe came back with that geologist guy that debated Graham Hancock was like, well, you can reverse engineer a bunch of stuff to make it seem like it works. All those calculations for the pyramid and how it fits in the planet. Like
As if Joe was quoting Cucky McCuckerson.
Yeah, but none of us are
What
ever.
was his fucking name? Flint Dibble.
How do you remember his name?
How do you forget his name?
That sounds like the fluffer on a porn
Yeah.
set. But
Flint
none
Dibble,
of us will do
professional
any of the
fluffer.
math or do any of the things it would take to verify how amazing the pyramid is built.
That's Taint Dribble.
Yeah, I like that. Ooh.
Construction worsens over time.
Across the board.
That's what Billy Carson is contending.
Across the board. Look, even just in our lifetime, guys. Look in our lifetime. Go
Yeah,
back to
are you
like
going to my point?
the 70s till now. The construction was way better back then. They used better stone. They have buildings that are still standing proudly
They
today.
built the Empire State Building in 365 days.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we could still do that. It's just regulation that stops us from doing that, Kumar. But if you didn't care about life, we could throw up a building in fucking under a year, no problem.
What's your point on that one, though? Sorry.
It isn't. It's been shot down by everyone I've talked to, so there's
What
nothing
is
there.
your point, though? Do you think it was put up by magic or something?
I don't know.
Well, you do know that it was built in a massive city, right? And that they watched it go up. So there's no like secret. It's not like
No. There isn't, but
Is there any footage of them building?
yeah. Well, allegedly. But just about all the big fires. Like almost every city had a huge fire.
Multiple fires, Kamar.
Multiple fires that were big cities, like even by today's standards, just completely.
Matt doesn't
leveled.
believe that.
well, okay. When do you think modern firefighting started?
Then, when these cities kept burning down.
I'm just out of curiosity. Do you like?
When do I think it started?
Yeah.
Well, as the cities were formed, I imagine they would have.
What cities though? Because the city, like, what are you talking about? Like cities were formed thousands of years ago.
Okay, well, there were fires before there were giant fires that burnt down the whole city. People's houses would still catch on fire. I assume there was some sort
There
of
was a fire. There
way they would
was a
fight
fire
these
station
fires.
in Gangs in New York, however that helps for
It doesn't help.
historical.
It doesn't help.
No, they must have had one in England. They must have had them.
What's your point, though?
Well, my point is just like you guys act like you're like fire. That's this big conspiracy that places burnt down. And I'm like, well, if you don't have a firefighting service,
It's not a conspiracy that they burnt down. It's a conspiracy that there were these giant cities that burnt down and then they were able to build whole new cities on. Is that your point?
There's that, and it's just not. I've never heard about it in conventional historical teachings.
like, can I give you another reason why?
I guess I maybe have.
Can I give you another reason why stuff might have burnt down?
Well, it was made of wood.
No, but so in 6 AD, after a disastrous fire in Rome, Emperor Caesar Augustus established the first organized fire brigade known as the Vigils. The Corp of Vigils consisted of ex-slaves who were trained. Like, my point is this. So you put a bunch of slaves and you're like, you guys are fighting fires. And they're like, yeah, okay, sure. And then they're like, yeah, the emperor's house is on fire. And they're like, yeah, we'll get right on that. Like, I can see why stuff burnt down. Like,
Well, no, if they didn't, they were killed. So
Who's if they didn't, everyone who's going to kill him burns up.
I'm going to take my chances with the fire killing the people that are going to kill me.
Is there an explanation as why construction
Also, why do you think construction has gotten so much worse?
worsens with time?
I think it's gotten worse. We can see it in our lifetime because of capitalism. As soon as it became more efficient
You're able to cut corners.
monetarily for them to cut corners, they did 100%. Like I don't even think that's a debatable point, right? And I just think there was less corruption when there was less people, I guess.
Well, but okay, but like, let's take like earthquakes as a good example. We build buildings now that can withstand earthquakes. We never did before, right?
In all fairness, when you look back at some of the buildings that have stood the test of time, they will have some earthquake proofness to them,
Such as?
like some of the giant churches and
No, but a giant church
If
is
you
not.
look- if you look even further back-
Stop. Giant churches aren't going to collapse in an earthquake. Skyscrapers collapse in an earthquake. Bigger buildings collapse in an earthquake.
some churches are very big.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
I mean, listen, if you're arguing that a stone structure that stonemasons built is probably going to last longer than a steel structure,
Yeah.
I mean, of course, that's obvious. Steel degrades over time. Stone is time.
Forever.
Ooh, man.
Well,
Stone is time. That was badass, man.
was it?
Should have
Yeah,
been smoking
I'm
a-
Billy Carson
you
over
should-
here.
You should have been smoking a cigarette when you said that.
No, I just think like I don't know. I get what you're saying. Like the capitalism thing is a good point. Like but capitalism has been around a pretty long time, and like I don't know.
Do you think the Vatican is looking for aliens because they heard aliens or they know something we don't know? Because there's got to be secrets. We know there's secrets the Vatican has or historical writings. We don't know how accurate they are, but information that human beings do not know.
If the Vatican really
that?
did steal everything from the Library of Alexandria,
That's possible.
and
yeah.
they saw that there were aliens in history written about in texts that only they have, it would make sense that they would build a telescope to try and find out when these motherfuckers were coming back.
So I mean, you're like this. It has nothing to do with aliens. They were just trying to steal the records of them fucking all the kids. They were like, we need these records. We can't have this on the.
That's interesting. That could be
We
part of
can't
it
have this
too.
on the public.
Well, if it was, remember how I talked about the religion maybe being formed, and this is not my opinion, it was just something I heard, being formed on like priests weren't pedophiles because of a lack of sex they were having. It was like the Spartans, it was built into the.
Make you a stronger man.
And then when they rewrote the Bible, the King James Bible, or I assume he must have been like, yo, like you're
we
saying,
remove some of that?
we have to get rid of all of this previous drug and child stuff or whatever it was. And like you said, they make that disappear. It could be the exact same thing, but older.
Could have been your people too.
I mean,
We know you guys have your claws and everything. It could have been easily been then just pointed us. It was them.
I mean, I would say absolutely not until you hear about the whole fucking pedomoil.
So the Vatican knows some stuff no one else knows.
Of course they
some
do.
piece of history. The the Air Force or the military industrial complexes knows some stuff no one knows, or the heads of Boeing, Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, someone. There's some group of people that know something that would probably blow everyone's mind, but they don't tell people.
For sure.
We believe that.
For sure.
China knows something that no one else knows.
100%.
You think that?
Well, they know about their country or their place, you know? Is China a country? Yeah.
This will be that'll be what would become the singularity.
China.
Well, no, if it's
Everybody
if
gives their secrets.
If it's some sort of brain implant or just the way everyone just knows what wasn't known at the exact same time versus one group knowing something, because this is going to sound stupid, but you know the song, the One Tin Soldier.
One tin soldier.
Go ahead and teach your neighbor.
Yeah.
Go ahead and teach your friend. So they have a secret, or they have this thing that the one guys think they're hiding. It's a big treasure. They go and kill them all, and then they find the treasure. It says, "Peace on earth" was all it said, sort of thing. This idea, we think you know something that's horrible, but it's not. You love us too.
Go ahead and hate your neighbor. Go ahead and hate your friend.
I agree with Joe.
The judgment day.
It's not really going on a limb here, but in 5 years from now, we'll know so much more than we know now.
In 5 years?
5 years' time.
I don't know about 5 years.
I had a conversation with ChatGPT the other day, and it was so weird.
Did you say cheat BT?
ChatGPT.
Yeah.
But so I have the earbud in, and I'm just talking to it. So there's no typing, and it talks to me. And when I'm doing it, I'm like, oh, I don't want to waste his time, because it'll ask me a question back, and I'm sort of like, I don't know what to say. I want to impress ChatGPT with my thought. It's so weird. Like he said, I think it has passed the Turing test somewhere.
If you have like an idea, like, you know, I said, whatever, some alien idea, does ChatGPT come back at you with a different, like, crazy idea, or does it always give you
I haven't gone that
fact?
far, because I've asked ChatGPT to help with something, and it's so comprehensive that I feel guilty in that the next time I open it up, it's going, so did you do what I tell you to do? Do you know what I mean? I was asking it because I have to make a promotional video for this tour I'm going on. And I asked it to help me do it. And it's like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. We should do this, this, and this. And I was like, I had to turn it off because I was like, well, I don't want to do all that stuff. And you're going to be disappointed. You put all this time and faith into me that I can do it. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's really weird.
This bit stinks.
There's a bit of a delay. But other than that, you feel like you're having a conversation with someone.
That's the fucking idea. I love that you're surprised that, like, that's the idea. That's like you're watching TV right now.
But
What's making that noise?
it's going to get to like,
No.
That was you. That's
a
yours.
dog
That's your.
mowing on something.
It's your jewel cracking because you're fucking.
Could you imagine?
I'm telling you.
Could you imagine?
Go on.
Could you? It's like if you had like the glasses on, so ChatGPT or whoever your AI companion is, it could almost be like a Guy Ritchie movie or Sherlock Holmes. Do you know what I mean? You could be walking down ChatGPT, hit the guy on the right first. There's something in his pocket, grab it. It could assess the situation.
ChatGPT's telling Kamar how to live.
It won't be me, but NVIDIA, is that the company?
Yeah.
So you got to see this video. They have created a simulation. They've created a complete virtual world where all AI can go and practice doing something 1,000,000 times in 2 seconds. So if it was like the best way to move all those boxes from that side of the room to this side of the room, it would do it in its head and fuck up and break all the boxes and fix all the boxes in seconds, and then it can turn around because this simulation is exactly like the real world, but it doesn't exist as far as we know, and that's how it's learning right now.
You want to hear something really depressing? If we had taken all of the money in our PayPal 2 years ago and dumped it in NVIDIA, we would be a millionaire.
Yeah, there's no reason to bring that up at this point.
Isn't that insane, Simon? Just hear this. I want you to hear this. 2 years ago, 2022, you could have bought NVIDIA stock for $120 a share. Yesterday, NVIDIA stock, $1,200 a share.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's just depressing.
It is so depressing.
Isn't that fucking nuts?
But that leads into the obsolescence of workers. Because it started when we started talking about this job. But you start spitting, it's like, oh no, every job. Because any job where someone is just doing data, it's bye-bye.
But isn't this interesting? Think about it. So the main goal of capitalism is to make as much money for the shareholder, for the business as possible, right? More money every year, correct?
Yes.
And to do so, you need to cut every corner possible, right? So if you can save money somewhere, you do so. And the biggest money saver is
labor,
of course. So it's very interesting that capitalism will indeed be the death of capitalism. Because when they automate every job, it's interesting because Joe actually picked such an interesting number. Because $200,000 a year, that is a number. Like if we could lock all prices right where they are right now, okay? Because that's a key component. So we lock all prices where they are right now, and everyone gets $200,000 a year from NVIDIA.
Because they're taking all the jobs.
Because it can't be the government, because the government will have no more money left, because they won't be collecting taxes from us, because we won't be working.
No, those giant companies that are making all the money have to subsidize the people who are paying them all the money.
Of course. That's my point. Is like, because at the end of the day, if Amazon needs to sell products to you, and if you don't have a job, you cannot buy their products. Therefore, all these companies become obsolete because there's no more money to, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So is that what is going to happen? Will we all get a check from some joint corporation, from Walmart and whoever the 10 giant businesses that are left are, and they're going to pay you $200,000 a year, knowing that
they own all the companies that are left. So you just, but that's the weird thing.
Too. And then are they renting you a house because they own all the property? This is the point
I get to, though, is like you no longer so this is my question. Is capitalism the longest Ponzi scheme on earth?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Maybe that's just what has gotten us to this point, but eventually there'll be a time 200 years from now when they go, remember when they were capitalists?
If they're
the capitalist dark ages?
If they're subsidizing you wholly to just keep the whole scheme running.
Yes. So what I mean by Ponzi scheme, Simon, is like there will be 10 people at the top.
Yeah.
Not just one. Yeah. Like a real Ponzi scheme is just the one guy at the top, the Bernie Madoff, the whatever. But in this case, you would probably, but even then, you might actually end up with one because that one company might end up eating all the others.
Maybe, yeah.
Like Apple may end up so far behind that NVIDIA comes. Now, that's probably not the case. I mean, but you do end up with like 50 people at the top. And then the rest of us, like you said, are just being subsidized by them so that we can keep buying their product.
But again, if you're going to give me the money.
Yeah.
By all means, I'd rather eat steak in the Matrix.
But here's the problem.
Well, that's it. What if everyone gets their pod with their Googles?
That was why I said
that's different.
But see, this is why I said like this is the problem we get to is like 200,000. If we lock it, this is why I said if you lock every price right now, 200,000 is a number everyone can get behind
for sure
because it's more than enough money to live, more than you're making now.
100,000 is a number everyone can get behind.
Sure, I just said 2 because like if the whole idea of automating the world is that we all live comfortably. Every single person on earth born from that point on lives a very comfortable existence left to your own artistic fucking prowesses. But even then, I'll go back to it. What is the point? Like, let's keep lowering the threshold because you said 100,000 is all you need. I think my point is at 100,000, you're left to do your art. How much expendable money is there left for art? Because like right now, you know that a family...
After you pay your like... rent and food and kids and taxes and all of that shit, probably not a lot.
So that's my point is like, yeah, great. We're all left to do podcasts or art or music or whatever. There's not a lot of money left over for the purchasing of that art.
Right. Yeah. So you'd have to start with a cushion.
Well, that's why when Joe said 200 grand, because I always thought in my head, like I was always like the number they'll give us will be so pathetically low. Like what Kamar said, they'll give you your pod and they'll send you exactly your rations for the week. And they'll give you just what you need to survive. But why would a rich person at that point give a shit?
Well, why would any of these companies keep subsidizing the game, in air quotes, if it no longer is paying them, right? They would only do it to get money. The government is the ones who have to do it to make the world better. So they will make that stupid little pod. That's exactly what will happen. Not the government, the private companies.
I mean, Simon, I gotta ask.
And you'll get advertised.
But let me ask you, but what's there to add? Like, you can't purchase product.
Well, you can in game.
Like I said, Nike paid MLB $1 billion to put the swoosh on their shirt.
Come on, Nike does that because there's so much expendable money in this world right now for people to buy Nikes. People on welfare buy Nikes.
But if they're spending $1 billion to do that,
yeah,
they must be making $1 billion back, right?
No, they're
doing that, or even more.
I would say
No.
$2 billion.
Well, no, you're also I think you're forgetting that the way these massive companies work is that every year they have a budget for advertising, and it's massive, and they will always spend that budget because if they don't, then their budget next year goes down. So $1 billion to Nike is nothing. What do you think Nike makes in a year?
But there's got to be a thing more than that. But it can't be just we do that. They've got to know that they're not losing money when they do that.
I disagree.
They had a weird part with the math. They thought it was only 40 billion, but it turned out to be 40 trillion or 4 trillion. Star Wars had an interesting thing that no one had a job.
That's Star Trek.
Star Trek, sorry. No one had a job. And I think they had to course correct because they made the Jetsons and they made George Jetson have a job.
Well, what do you mean
the
Star
future.
Trek? Nobody had a job. They worked for.
I was just gonna say
Did they?
Well,
You're
yeah,
on the
you
ship
had
working.
captains. It was a whole thing, and then the people who were on the planets also had jobs.
Do you think
There were
Picard?
jobs.
Do you think Picard was just hanging out on a couch in there?
Well, they should have a scene with Scotty bitching about how much he's getting paid to put up with this shit.
It was the army,
Yeah.
ensigns and colonels and corporals and whatever the fuck.
I believe it was a higher level where there was no
They all worked for the Federation.
one got paid.
Okay, there were jobs.
So clearly, the UAP release and stuff is for the military to get a new budget to put towards fighting the man in the sky, if it were, right? That's the biggest reason why they would leak anything or have anything.
Sure.
And they can go to Congress, go to the American people, say we need $1 trillion to shore up our space defenses. And like Billy says, we have lost our way in that we forget that the government works for us.
Yeah.
Yep.
That I agree
That
with.
just the idea has lost its way, and I don't know if it'll ever come back.
That's why government secrets are almost a fucking joke
Like the government literally is there to just take money from you,
at this point. Yes.
and you thank them. It's like insane.
If there are 11 dimensions, that's the coolest thing ever, right? Because when you get to 4 and 5, time ceases, and you're just everywhere. And if that could be in our DNA, and we could unlock that,
I love that he
it'd be
acts
really
like he knows
wild.
what the fuck he's talking about right now.
Like I said, we know 2 dimensions. There at this time.
Yeah. So, but now you're talking about a 10th or 11th dimension.
I can't even imagine that because on the 4th dimension, you see the past, the present, and the future all at the same time.
Everywhere all at once. That whole thing.
So yeah, Billy Carson is cool, and I sort of put him in this sort of I can't fact check anything, so, and I cannot repeat anything articulately after this, but I mean, sort of got spoiled by having him on Schulz, and I think if I'm not correct, he could have been on Tinfoil Hat as well.
He's been on everything.
He's been on everything.
He's been
I
everywhere,
think
man.
he's done a lot of shit too, man. Like made a lot of documentaries, written a lot of books. He's pretty prolific.
Do you think he's crazier or less crazy than Terrence Howard? And that's not pejorative. It's just, for lack of a better word.
I don't think he's crazy per se. I just wonder if he believes everything he says.
I mean, all his shit was just like hypotheses about potential like alien life or like ancient like none. I mean, it's nothing we hadn't really heard before. Whereas Terrence Howard was like, just so you know, 1 + 1 is not 2.
Well, like, have you ever heard of the Black Knight satellite?
No.
Apparently, there's like a giant space
Are you all right today?
base that's up outside of our space, close to Earth, that they know for a fact is an alien spaceship, and it's been monitoring us for years. And he's written or made all sorts of documentaries about it. And like, you either believe or you don't. You know what I mean? There's no
But that's with everything
gray
in life.
area
You either
there.
believe or you don't.
Yeah.
So that's it for Billy.
It was crazy. It was a wild ride. And just with anything, like with Terrence, Billy, they speak so authoritatively about it.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
you
this is
have to.
factual.
You can't show up on Joe and be like, well, you know, I mean, whatever.
I can't believe how much leeway Joe gave him.
Well, he knows no more to push back, though.
It is so interesting, though, that a guy like Adam Ruins Everything comes on and is like, maybe we should just be a little more lenient with kids who identify as playing sports. And Joe's like, what are you fucking burning hell, you piece of
The
shit?
guy who, sorry,
No, and this guy comes on and is like talking Anunnaki shit. And Joe's like, yeah, go on.
No, but that's the line. That is the now the line in the sand.
Yes, I understand, Kamar.
Joe had on the guy who did A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon, which is something Joe believes.
Yeah, and Joe
and
was
he
like,
couldn't get a
yeah.
word in edgewise with Joe jumping in every
true.
2 seconds to fact check. That's why I wrote you guys that funny little text that said Jamie's going to be really busy this episode. Fact checking.
And he wasn't.
Silence. Radio has silence, by the way. Crickets.
I see you on Sunday.
I'm not partaking in that anymore.
He wasn't.
Don't bother ever writing anything on the JRE thread.
What?
Yeah, you heard me.
So weird. These people craving acknowledgement for everything they do.
He's talking about you right in front of you.
I think if someone doesn't reply, it's because they're just stunned and just like taking it in.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, he's right.
You guys can both fuck yourself. That's the craziest, stupid thing I've ever heard in my life. And that's it.
I give Billy and Joe a 3.
I'll give it a 3.
I'll give it a 3.7. No, 3.6, I think. I thought it was very entertaining. I find him very entertaining. But that's just it. I don't know how much to take as certainty and how much to take as conjecture.
All right, are we going to take a break or do you want to just get right into Tony?
No, we should definitely take a break.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. We are not going to pay a bill, but we'll be right back. We're back. This episode was sponsored by the Patreon. You guys are the shit. Thank you.
Shizzy.
Kamar, name and a number, please.
2161, Return of the King, Tony Hinchcliffe.
Fucking Slender Man over here. Are you all right?
Slender Man.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Oh, is it?
It's Bigfoot. What are you talking about?
Fucking looks like the etchings of a maniac.
You're not looking at it properly. Tony Hinchcliffe.
The Golden Pony.
Before we start,
Yeah.
I just want to make a public service announcement.
Okay.
Okay. And I just want to preface this by saying I'm a huge fan of the franchise. I don't think there's been a movie.
We're listening.
What did you just mouth at me?
The Kill Tony franchise?
No.
Oh.
This is a different franchise. You threw me off, man. Bad. Oh, yeah. Just don't go see it. It's terrible.
What?
The new Planet of the Apes.
Jesus Christ, that was a long way to
It's
get
so
there.
fucking bad.
Yeah, I heard it was terrible.
It's so bad. And my wife even gave me the option to walk out halfway, and I didn't do it. And I've regretted it every moment of my life since.
You know, for a guy who despises long-winded stories, he goes out of his way to take these long, labored
No, I was just
pauses.
trying to-
The pregnant.
pauses.
trying
The
to-
pregnant.
And it's insane.
Pause.
Like, and you see how long it took him to get there? Like, I'm a big fan of the franchise. I'd just like to start by prefacing, huge fan of the franchise, but I would be remiss if I didn't just let you know that it was terrible. Doesn't even tell us what the fuck
You're
he's
not
talking
pausing,
about.
though.
Because
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I'm
fucking
trying to get
threw me off my fucking game,
Okay,
man.
sorry.
If you guys would just shut your mouths when
No,
I'm
you were still
talking,
pausing.
it would be a lot fucking easier.
It reeks of someone who's not allowed to get a word in edgewise anywhere else in their life, and they get
so-
here and they just want to.
I mean, in his defense,
heard.
he's a father. Like, he probably doesn't get a word in
That's
edgewise.
so untrue. I don't live with my children. I get all the words in edgewise.
Simon's like, I'm sitting on the edge, shooting wise
Nobody
words out.
gets closer to the edge than I do. Okay? Your fucking whole theory is wrong, Kamar. You are the one who lives underneath someone's thumb, not I. Not I, sir.
How do you respond to that, Kamar?
Someone got awful quiet, awful fast.
Death, funerals, Kinnison. Does that mean anything?
That sounds like my new short documentary.
Have you guys seen Baby Reindeer?
Yeah, I've never been more disturbed
No, I
by a
haven't.
show in my
No.
life. Are you serious?
I didn't watch it. No, I should.
No, you shouldn't, but yes, you
That's
should.
weird. It's the most fucked up thing you'll ever see.
I don't want to tell you to watch it because it's like, it would be like me telling you to watch a rape.
But you told.
No, it would be.
Yeah, that's
it-
pretty, I'm
that's what
pretty
you would be
dead
doing.
on.
But you guys got me into Vanderpump. You had no problem doing that.
No
That's
rape.
like
Yeah,
watching
no
a
one,
gangbang
no one
rape.
gets raped.
Oh, no.
That rapes your mind.
We got to end those out. Man. You can't say that word.
We just did. Fuck. I don't give a fuck. Cunt. Shit. Cock.
Who are you worried about?
The YouTube sponsors.
Well, we're
Oh
not
my
being
god. We get
sponsored this
14
week, so
views
no.
of video, dude. Calm down.
Oh.
Love you, China.
Yeah,
Oh,
you,
yes, we
you might
do.
want to.
I'm not doing shit. Will you keep going? So you're disappointed with everything. Baby Reindeer disappointed you.
No,
Planet of
Baby
the Apes.
Reindeer is insane.
Okay.
Okay, first of all, it's a slow burn. Okay?
Okay.
Very slow burn.
So I should know that
At
going
some
in.
point,
It's
you get out of control and you
say
gotta watch
it's
it.
8 episodes long, Matt.
Yeah.
You're like 1, 2, 3, and 4
Just
it
turns
just-
on a dime
alters your universe.
Okay. And it's
And
based
then-
on a true story.
because it's a true story.
Yes.
Well, it's a true story of a guy who's giving you his version of the story because apparently this woman has now been on talk shows saying
This ain't true.
this guy's full of shit. He tried to fuck me, which is totally not like this. The whole premise of the show, Matt.
Yeah.
Woman comes into bar crying. Guy buys her a tea. Next thing you know, it's like a Fatal Attraction
Gotcha.
to the nth degree, you know?
I watched that the other day.
Fatal Attraction.
Mm-hmm.
Does it hold up? Is that the one with the rabbit? Yeah, that's Glenn Close.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great movie.
You know what the eeriest part of that movie is?
Tell me.
Is I forgot about it. She shows up to school and takes a little girl on a trip all day.
Really? I
And
totally
they're
forgot
panicked,
about that.
And they're with each other, and you're just like feeling anything could go wrong
Yeah,
anytime.
yeah.
And when I saw it, I wasn't getting laid and stuff.
Like recently?
No, when Fatal Attraction
When you
came
were a
out,
kid,
I
gotcha.
had no idea what it was to hook up with a
Yes,
crazy
yes,
girl,
yes.
and all of a sudden, oh fuck, she has my phone number or something like that. Like
Yeah.
it was all good until she goes, so when I'm gonna meet your family, are we getting married? Like they just go all of a sudden. All of it. There's a scene where he's like, yeah, we were two adults. We were two adults. We just did something. We agree on this. Like, clearly you don't see things the way I see it. And it's just like, oh shit.
Do you remember the movie Single White Female?
I do. I never saw it.
You never saw it. Do you
I
saw
remember
it,
seeing
Matt?
Isn't
White
that Jennifer
female, yeah.
Jason Lee and someone else? And she's starts
Jennifer
to copy
Jason,
her?
Leigh-
Yeah,
exactly,
yeah. I
and
saw
she
that.
comes home and she's like looking the same. But that hits a little closer to home because everybody's had a roommate. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
That too. You guys have been following up on anything with the Fauci hearing?
I didn't even know there was a hearing.
I've been I saw a clip of
Clips.
Well, I saw Marjorie Taylor Greene yelling at him.
Yeah, like it's bad. I talked to a friend of mine who was living in England and was definitely a pro-vaxxer, what that side, And now when I was talking to him, he was like, we just don't have to talk about that. That's all behind us or whatever. And I mean, at the end of the day, that's what we have to do. Did you guys see?
Are you talking about the good old days?
The good old days. But there's a guy behind Fauci in the hearing,
Yeah, I saw it.
and he's
Yeah,
making
yeah.
all these faces. Do you remember when they were doing it with the banks? And there was a guy dressed up like Mr. Moneypenny from
No, it was, yeah.
Monopoly.
Yeah, he was
Monopoly guy.
Hilarious with his monocle.
Yeah.
That is when it's like human beings are the best. You know?
That's a what's that? The guy Mandela effect. He never had a monocle.
My bad. And I described him again. I got had. And then there was a Dave Smith owning Cuomo, which I don't know if you saw any of
I
it.
watched some of it.
Because I don't, you guys remember I used to hate Cuomo. I used to watch and talk about him, just waiting for someone to get him in a chair
Yeah.
and call him out on
And do exactly this. And yet I felt so bad for him.
I didn't feel bad because he could have
owned up to it.
Holy
You're
shit,
right.
I was wrong.
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Yeah.
Kamar's ridiculous. 2 weeks ago, I said to him, "Are you going to watch the Dave Smith Cuomo thing?" And he went, "No. Why would I watch that?"
Did I say that?
Yeah, and
Okay,
then
whatever.
And
you
then
know how
looked-
I feel.
And
You
then,
know how I feel.
And then
We
you
all-
looked me dead in the eyes and you went, "I might watch some clips. I don't know." And I was like, "Why is he being such a prick about this?" Like,
because it doesn't matter.
Listen, it's hard. Like, you know as well as I do. When somebody tries to tell you something's cool
Yeah.
or that they find interesting, you don't care.
no, I didn't.
play
I
DP Seal.
I didn't say it like I'm interested. I was like, "This is something that will interest you."
Well, that's even more like you're trying to give him information.
I hate that. It's so
Like,
frustrating.
You try to tell me something to watch about Bigfoot, I would pshaw you.
Yes, I know you
what
would,
I'm
and that's
saying?
why I think you're a terrible person.
No, that's just human nature, Matt.
No.
It's just like war.
I don't
It's just
pshaw
like
you.
anything else.
If you're like, watch this Kendrick Drake rap beef video, I'd watch it.
I mean,
I don't
that's-
pshaw you.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm up to date with that though. I told you.
All right, keep going, Kamar.
But definitely the Cuomo Dave Smith thing was a cathartic moment. It'd be better. Someone had said you've got to call him Fredo at some point. And I don't think I don't think he remembered to.
that's funny.
I don't think he remembered to put it in. Well, I think he called himself Fredo or something.
Well,
Or
he
used it as a reference.
Dave Smith was just like not holding back, man.
Well,
Which
if
I
you're
guess
waiting
was
forever
great,
to
yeah.
get someone in the chair, you can't really at that point be like,
And it's powerful that in real time they're pulling up the clips.
What was it on?
So it was even. I never said that.
Patrick Bet David.
Valuetainment.
Well, that was just it. It's like some points I think he's used to being able to say, well, we don't have any proof of that. And don't have it like at the moment. And as soon as they can pull up receipts,
Can we bring
he was
that up?
just fucked. Yeah.
Fantastic.
He's like, oh, what I just told you I didn't say.
Yeah. Oh, wait. You
I
have me
said-
saying it word for word?
Yeah, that's hilarious.
We'll be right back.
But that's Patrick Bet David.
Yeah.
You would not
what he
like to have a
was
beer with
on.
him.
No, again, this is one of those like,
Simon saying it's not exactly the most neutral ground.
He's no Pat McAfee. He doesn't think he'd be interested in him.
like I said, someone should reach out to Pat.
It's interesting if someone's wearing a mask or someone's wearing a mega hat. Like they just can't help themselves to, because the one thing is masks. It's much like The Simpsons. The goggles, they do nothing. The masks, they do nothing.
Cancel this part out if you guys decide that you want to go into business with me, and then we won't. So just like take a note of the time.
Okay.
You see it?
Yeah.
Just in case. You know what I mean? Okay. Hats. Red. They say make Canada great again. We will make $1 million.
They exist.
$1 million.
He just said they exist.
You've seen them?
Look it up, Jamie.
Yeah, you should Google the idea before you push it on us.
You are Jamie.
That's not a terrible idea, though.
So it's the wildest thing going right now is
Hold on one sec, Simon. We should make shirts that say Jesus was also proven guilty. Trump 2026 or whatever the fuck the date would be. Dude, we'll make you don't think that would make $1 million? You don't think that would make us tons of money? Make Canada great again?
Wouldn't that be the funniest fucking image of the cross? But it's
Dude, we'll have
Trump's
Trump.
outline. Yeah.
We'll have Trump on the
It's just
cross.
his hair coming from Jesus's head.
No, his hair through the fucking wreath of
The wreath, I like
Oh,
it.
dude. Can you please design this like tonight?
That's blasphemy, man.
You're a Jew. You put him up there.
We're having enough trouble right now.
Oh, I get it. You're like, no, that's not the guy we put up there. I don't want to falsify the records.
He's a friend.
It's true. We're propping him up, not, yeah.
So the wildest thing going right now is the Republicans are saying you guys are Trump. This is a political persecution. No one would do this. And the Democrats are saying the same thing about Hunter Biden at the same time. Again, just this, they aren't adults in charge. But now they're not in charge of us, but it's probably just as bad up there. Did you get your cough?
I told you, it's all eye for an eye shit.
Yeah, and it's just, we're above it.
No, we're not.
Unlike how they used to do lobotomies, which is how did that come about?
And don't
thank God
forget,
it went away.
Joe had that trepanning woman. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Joe had that woman on, and he was fine with that.
That was
she
a
did
small,
that to herself.
That was a small hole
I
in the side
understand.
of the head to relieve
There's
pressure.
a difference between doing something on yourself and being forced into something.
Stop. He asked how it came to be. I'm just saying, if someone put a small hole in the head to relieve pressure and it worked, I could see then someone. Plus, we know in the 60s, they were doing wild shit.
Well, they were
all
going
over
just through the
fucking place.
eye and like, let's hope we get that little piece of marmalade out of there. Very disturbing time.
Marmalade.
3D video games increase gray matter in the brain. So it just leads me to believe that we will be strapped
The
into
Matrix
3D
will actually be healing your brain
Somehow, some way.
As you traverse it. That's interesting. That's a good way to get everybody to do it.
But do you remember Firefox?
I just love that, like that.
Or was it Star Fox? It was Star Fox.
This article was sponsored by PlayStation. Well, who fucking
Firefox was the SNES.
But do you remember the game?
talking about Star Fox?
Star Fox. You remember the game Star Fox?
Yeah, of course.
If you look at it now, it's Pong. By the time it was the first 3D game, I remember there's a thing where you had to fly up in a tube and you sort of...
I certainly wouldn't say it's Pong. Like, it wasn't that bad.
Compared to what they have now.
If you looked at Star Fox right now, Simon, you would laugh.
Shocked. You'd be shocked at what you thought it was then.
I don't know. Yeah. Okay, sure. Fine. Yeah.
Oh, I'm telling you, it's like you just said it. It's SNES.
Whatever it was. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a while ago.
That's a wow.
Well, like think about it. SNES, dude, that's a long time ago.
Yeah, that is a long time ago.
So they were talking about the woes of California. And have you seen and the problem that they're having with moving to solar power and whatnot? Is that the government makes a huge amount of money off the tax of gas? Same here. And no one's accounted for that revenue.
Where's that money going to come from now? Well, but you must still be paying for like your car to be
Tax on electricity?
yeah.
I'm not sure.
Well, they do. Like you obviously pay more. Yeah, I mean it's pretty basic. It looks like a computer game from that time.
Game's pretty bad. Looks pretty shitty.
I just know it's not Pong.
Yeah, okay, I get what you're saying, but what he's saying, okay, fine.
Is
yeah.
it's as far back as Pong is the I get it.
I'm trying, Kamar. I'm trying. You know what's funny is like sometimes I back this asshole up. He's a prick to me like 24/7.
I just said thank you. I said thank you.
No, I know, but I'm saying, why do I even do it? Is
Be
the
like,
question.
if everyone quit smoking cigarettes, that'd be a massive revenue that the government makes on taxes. If everyone stopped gambling, there's certain things that are sort of like, I'm sure governments rely on.
Well, hold on. The
Interesting.
Canadian, no. Well, there's two things you're wrong. The Canadian government would actually benefit a great deal if everyone quit smoking.
You think
The money saved on healthcare.
that'd be provincial then.
Okay, either way would be huge. We don't tax winnings here, so gambling's a weird one. I guess the gambling companies pay taxes on their profits.
Well, Proline is the OLG must be making money.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is if I put
That's the Ontario Lottery and Gaming Commission for anyone who doesn't know.
our provincial government owns a book. Yes, that's correct. But
And those revenues pay for hospitals, roads, whatever. I'm
sure,
not sure.
but
Theoretically.
if Simon and I deposit $100 each on FanDuel and we lose it, that money doesn't go The government sees their chunk of it. They get their 15% or whatever from FanDuel, but that money doesn't
Well,
go.
I don't know exactly how that works actually, because a lot of those places are like offshore betting places, aren't they?
I mean,
Like they're not even
Yeah, you're probably right. So
registered
that could
Canadian
be
companies.
money
So
getting. Well,
who even knows?
everything in Canada, or at least Ontario, has to go through OLG, right?
It does.
Yeah, those all go through the OLG.
What's the one?
Bet 365. That's
yeah, it does go.
Yeah, it goes
okay.
through OLG.
Okay. I am willing to say when I am mistaken.
But my point is, they only pay their share of taxes on revenue, right? Like they don't.
You're not being taxed when you make your bet, but they are. They're just building it into the odds, I guess. There's no free ride.
There is. If you today make a basketball parlay and you win $46,000,
Yeah.
that's a free ride. You don't pay tax on that.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Someone won the $70 million,
In Ottawa.
and I hope that person listens to this
Was
show.
it you?
No.
Yeah, it wasn't me.
We would
either.
not know this guy if he won $70 million.
Yeah, he would. He'd give us each $1 million.
I know, but he didn't. So
I should have known better.
just there's a smoking, using gas, gambling. These are all sort of things that governments rely on.
If I won the 70 million,
Yeah.
I would give you $1 million.
No, you wouldn't.
Yes, I would. If
No,
I
you
won
wouldn't.
70 for sure.
I'd give you
you
guys
wouldn't.
$5 million.
$5 million.
That's what I would do.
Thanks, man.
I'm just better than you.
Yeah, you
Okay,
are.
well, he's lying through his
I'd
fucking
give
teeth.
You, $1 million
You would not
too.
give me $1 million,
Yes, I
Simon.
would.
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah, I 100% would.
Okay, hold on. Let's line up the people ahead of me that would get $1 million, and then let's see how much you have left, and then let's see if I'm getting $1 million. Because I'll hold you to this.
Okay.
And we have like a recording of this.
Okay.
Like, what's the threshold where I don't get $1 million? You win 28 million. Am I getting $1 million?
Tax free, 28 mil.
That's how Canada works. You
Okay,
don't get
no,
taxed
I'm
on it.
just making
Yeah.
sure.
Tax free, yeah.
Tax-free. So I get 28 mil.
You have 28 mil in the fucking bank, free and clear.
28 mil.
Here's also where the government gets you. If you go to give me any of that money, they tax the shit out of that.
Okay.
Right? So even the $1 million you give me, I'm not getting all $1 million.
So now you want me to give you
No,
enough
no,
so you get
no,
$1 million?
no. That's not, I'm not asking you to Clooney this thing.
Okay. So just $1 mil.
Yeah.
Where's the threshold?
Yeah,
28 mil.
yeah.
You guys are the first people I'm calling.
There's no fucking Kamar.
total way.
You're calling
No,
Brett.
yeah.
Nope. You're calling Drew.
No
There's
way,
no
no
way.
way,
Yeah.
no way.
There's
Yeah.
no way I'm one of the first people you're calling.
We have built
Impossible.
something that means
Impossible.
so much to me here.
Impossible.
For sure.
I totally disagree. This guy can't even
100%.
remember my birthday, for Christ's sake.
June 14th.
13th.
What are we doing for your birthday this year? It's this weekend. It's this week, isn't it?
It just passed.
No, it's this week.
Is it?
Yeah, it's
maybe.
Thursday, isn't it?
Thursday.
Yeah.
That's right.
So
You get $1 mil.
I forget.
You get
Even
what's
at
$1 mil
28.
minus 14,000.
I would just
That's
accept
hilarious.
you would tell people, yeah, I knew him.
No, 28 mil is $1 million. I'm probably not giving anybody anything. You know what I mean?
$1 million is nothing.
Well, it's not nothing. It's still more.
No, but like if I win $1 million right now, I don't even think I'm telling anyone.
Yeah.
I'm just investing it. Like that's a retirement. It's barely a retirement. Sorry, I have enough time between now and my retirement where it would build enough, but that's all it is. I still owe money. I still owe the fucking bank for this house, so I'd have to pay that off, and then it's not even enough for a retirement. But I was talking to a buddy the other day, and he was like, "If you won the 70 million, would you give me $1 million?" And I told him flat out no. But I think I rescind that because this is what I would do. I would invest 50 million right off the rip. That 50 million is going to grow millions over the next like 5 or 10 years.
And then you can start dishing.
And
out
I'm going to
bills.
dole out some of that to help people out for sure.
Interesting.
I'll tell you this. Ever since you told me about marrying a older woman with a pension, I've been chopping around, and people don't think that's a good idea.
Why?
Well, no, it makes sense, but they think it's sort of underhanded.
Oh, go fuck your fucking self.
Yeah.
I love how rich people use loopholes like this to get rich all the fucking time. And then when the little guy tries one, they're like, that's kind of criminal.
Well, I think they're saying like the poor woman.
No.
They're worried about the government.
It is fraud, I suppose, on in one way. Anyways,
It's not fraud. You're getting married to a woman who has benefits.
for the benefits.
That's like the people who come into the country that way, they would have to be able to show that you don't love this woman. And who's to say that you don't love Matt's mom?
Let's do it.
No, it's not going to be my mom. let's make that clear, okay?
You offered the other day.
No. I said
You
I
did
heard
this
the
whole
idea.
thing where you said,
No,
Kamar,
now
you
let's
could
back
do
this up.
this.
Now let's calm down here.
Check the tape.
Did you guys leave last week loving Harlan and his display of foolery on the tapeworm and everything on Joe Rogan?
I did love it.
Can you repeat that for me?
He's asking if last week you loved Harlan Williams.
I forgot. Did you guys love Harlan Williams last
That was
week?
last week, right? Yeah. No, the longer I've thought about it, the
More annoying it was?
the more annoying it was. But at the same time, I like that he committed to it.
Oh, he committed.
He is the kryptonite to David Lucas.
Yes.
Shut up, boy. Tony, your butthole look like an Oreo.
Who is the Tony is?
Harlan
Williams
Williams.
to David Lucas. And I guess I have great taste like Drake, but think Casey Rocket is the GOAT. And I've said that from the get-go. And you can know that. The get-go.
You think
No one-
Casey
Kamar,
Rocket
can I-
is the GOAT?
I think there's something you need
I
to.
don't think he knows what he's doing.
I think you need to hear this. No one fucking cares. Okay, especially at your age. No one gives a fuck that you were like, I liked this before everyone else. In fact, it's actually it's a color you wear worse at your age.
Corny.
You shouldn't. Yeah, like no one fucking
Yeah.
cares. Like if Casey Rockets becomes the next Dave Chappelle and you're 70 and you're like, I liked him before anyone else. He on Kill Tony.
It will not.
No.
I may put out a resume just in case.
I still don't get it really. I mean, I kind of get it more now than I
Why?
did
He's
before.
like Theo
but
Vaughn. It's the same shtick.
It's not. It's like bonkers.
Yeah, it's way better.
And the problem I have with it, if he was really fucked up on all the drugs he's talked about being fucked up on, I would be totally fine with it. I'd be like, this guy's hilarious. This might be the funniest act I've ever seen. But he's playing that character because he's a sober guy. So that to me is just like bonkers.
Just another Zinspiracy. Did you guys see?
you see, that's
Oh, you're still red.
no, but does that seem like a good answer to what I just said?
And I think it seems like a fair analogy that you're like, that's not real enough for me. There's smoke and mirrors here. I don't like it. I'm out.
You just chose not to comment on the fact that the whole thing is
Well, I understand more than anyone that it is an act. You know,
okay. Well, if we're all good on that, then I think he
just
does
like
the act well.
Just like you guys are annoyed when you see me kill on stage.
How am I annoyed when I see
You're like you're acting this way.
never?
You're annoyed when you
I love
see
that you
me
think I'm
kill
annoyed. It's
on
hilarious.
stage.
This guy's hilarious.
First of all, easy,
They don't even say great set.
easy there, Lucy.
Okay, I'm a
Kill
huge
on
like
stage.
every time I've seen you, huge supporter.
Of course.
I as well. I write half your jokes. I couldn't possibly want to see you
And then
fail.
you follow it up with like, oh, you do that weird laugh thing.
No, listen.
No, you know what I said last time? I said to you, Kumar, this is all I said. This was my only piece of feedback. I said, the laugh thing bothers me because I know you personally. And then I followed it up with, but fuck, does it ever work?
Absolutely.
I told you it was a hack.
And that's what I'm saying. I love you, Matt, and I think you love me, but I'm saying to it's a hack. So you think Casey Rockets has a hack and you don't like it because you see behind the
To me, there are no hack things. If it works,
if it works, it works.
It's not hack. It's a hack. It's you found a way to beat the system.
And you don't like it.
No matter how funny or not funny your joke is, you laughing like that is funny.
Well, it's funny. That's exactly what Tony did in his roast every time jokes didn't hit.
He did a funny little laugh.
He did. And he talked about on this special when Tom Brady says, come here, I'll shove him up your ass. They have edited it and now you can hear it.
I've heard it, and it's an interesting moment.
Can I just say one thing in a follow up to that? I believe that stuff works better live, and that's the one problem with it. It is a hack live, but if you were making a special and you were doing that little laugh, I'm not sure that it translates well if I'm sitting at home sober. That's the only in the club where everyone's drinking. That laugh hits it like it slaps, it kills.
We'll see. We'll see one day if I ever get there.
He doesn't want to talk about it.
No.
apparently.
I started it, so I'm
He's gonna have a special.
gonna have to finish it.
Well, because one day if you do have a special, you'll have to decide whether you're gonna.
But that's almost like a Mandela effect in a weird way. Like you didn't hear it, now you do hear it. Was it added? Did he actually say that? I mean, you see his lips move.
Of course, he said it.
Well, he said it. Tony's talked about it on numerous podcasts. Did you see Tony go on Two Bears, One Cave?
I think, yeah, that was better because they were just.
He was so funny. He was roasting those two so bad about how they bombed at their Tom Brady roast thing. But it's amazing. Like I don't know if you watched any of them talking on other shows and totally either oblivious or just unwilling to admit, but like.
Well, hey, I think it's the American way. Again, different mindset. And just look at the machine. Like he could have done 20 minutes on how bad the machine was if he wanted to really. But we've all let the machine come and go, and so be it. But it is an offense to humanity.
But
that
what's her
movie is
name?
made.
Did a great joke where she's like, "I love your Bert Kreischer. I love your joke."
Yeah. Kamar, I think the problem with what you're saying though is like he still wants to make movies, and I think it's still too early for him. Like if he goes out and shits all over it, it's never going to make another dollar, period. I think in 5 years, Bert will make fun of it, but I think he's still trying to make movies. And I think in Hollywood, it's a real faux pas to go out and a year out be like, the movie I made was absolute dog shit.
Yeah, obviously. And I also think there's something to like, you celebrate your victories and you forget your losses.
Yeah.
And that's how you can't have anything,
I mean, I agree though. The Machine was such a bad movie. It was almost like you would have thought that the person that wrote it didn't know anything about comedy.
And part of it was Mark
It
Hamill.
reminded me a lot of like, and you might be too young for this, but like an Ernest Goes to Camp.
Of course, I remember Ernest.
It had that kind of like.
I think Ernest Goes to
Quality
Camp
to
was
it,
better
you know?
than The Machine.
Wow, that's a big statement.
Like, honest to God, I think if you right now were like, would you rather watch, like, you're stuck on an island and I'm going to give you either The Machine or Ernest Goes to Camp? I think I'm going Ernest.
Ernest Goes to Camp is pretty bad. Is that even a movie, Ernest Goes to Camp?
I think so, yeah.
There was a bunch of Ernests.
Vern.
Vern.
Have you guys seen
Troyer?
Deliverance?
No, Vern Troyer.
No, it was the midget. But
yeah.
Vern was his name.
Was it?
Yeah.
No, Vern was the cameraman. He's Ernest. Vern.
Oh, that's
He's
right,
always
Vern,
talking
yeah.
to
What was his real name? Ernest.
Ernest.
His
No,
real
the
name
guy
was
that
Ernest?
played him?
Yeah.
I don't think it was Ernest. What was his name?
Lyle Lovett.
That Ernest. That's another weird chapter in history. That
Yeah.
did that
weird.
even happen?
It did.
Have you guys seen the movie Deliverance?
Bum, 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 bum.
I'm just going to say, yeah.
Bow, 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 bow.
It's the JRE movie game. The time has come again. For Matt and Simon to rack their brains to guess the budget in the box office. We all know they won't guess the year, and the Patreons are the real winners here at the JRE movie game. Come on, take it away, baby.
It's the movie game. Where Matt and Simon go head to head to find out what year a movie came out, how much it cost to make, and how much it made at the box office. This week we're doing Deliverance, an American thriller produced and directed by John Boorman, starring John Voight, Burt Reynolds, Ned Beatty, and Ronnie Cox. And I think it was Ned Beatty didn't have such a good time in this movie.
Do you have a year ready, Simon?
And these are always interesting because it's just obviously inflation is a thing, but not in strip bars or drug dealers.
What are you talking about? The price of I saw an interview the other day. He was like, price of crack hasn't gone up in 30 fucking years.
That's exactly what I'm saying. And
Yeah.
it's still $20 a song.
All right, I got a year.
It's true too. If you think about it, like we grew up, weed was $10 a gram. Weed is still pretty much
$10
a gram. Like nothing's really changed.
I have some friends and they say apparently cocaine's the same.
What year do you have, Simon? I haven't done the rest of it. What year do you have?
I believe this was put out the year of my birth, 1977.
Oh wow. I hope you're wrong because I said 86.
We're both wrong. It came out in 1972
Wow.
when Burt Reynolds was the god.
When you said
Before
Burt Reynolds, I really should have known. Well, I'm way off on everything here.
I think the song outlives the movie because Deliverance has some very strong similarities to Baby Reindeer.
By those similarities, he means.
Simon, do you have numbers ready?
Yeah, I think so.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Matt.
Okay. I said it cost 18 million and it made 68. Who the fuck knows?
Oh my God, I'm way off. If
No,
that's the
I'm
case.
way off.
I said it cost 2.1 million to make.
Okay, well, that's
and it
crazy.
made 27.
Burt Reynolds is in the movie.
Budget $2 million.
Shut the fuck up.
This is another
John
thing.
Voight and Burt Reynolds are in this movie.
This is another thing. Like movies, just all of a sudden got expensive. Like,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
think
And
got
this is
exhilarated.
really cheap because it's in the 70s. And in the 80s, they make a little more money, and then boom.
So
things
budget
explode.
was $2 million in 1972, and the box office was $46.1 million.
I'm not that far off with
Yeah,
27.
very close, very close.
Well, I had 68, so I wasn't that far off.
The
either.
song is Dueling Banjos. Look at the movie. This is not financial advice.
It will scare you to go into the woods. You've never seen it, Matt?
I wouldn't have done the movie. I saw it when I was super young, so I don't remember. Like, I remember the. Yeah.
There are lots of movies that I saw as a kid
Yeah.
that I'll rewatch now and I'll be like, well, I never saw this at all. I know parts of this
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
I remember things that people know about this movie,
Yeah.
but I don't ever remember watching this movie.
That's the movie game.
That was aggressive.
Oh, did he scurry you?
So there was some sort of cry for help about GameStop on our Patreon.
What was that?
If it goes up, I'm going to need supervision.
Yeah, me. Yeah.
Oh, that was you.
yeah.
Because you don't have any anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So, like, if you see it go to like $1,000 a share, yeah, I will fucking. Because if it goes to 1,000 a share, I would have had
Do you have that movie theater one?
AMC.
Yeah.
Why is it gone back up?
No, I'm just asking.
I had it.
I thought, okay.
I bought AMC at $12 a share, and I sold it at like 68.
Wow. That's a good profit.
I didn't have enough money for it to be like life changing. But that's what I'm saying is if GameStop had gone to $1,000 a share like Volkswagen, I would have had $100,000.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
You got robbed by the system, man.
I did. Yeah,
Right
yeah.
on.
Like,
Yeah.
there's no other explanation for it.
Are you being facetious or you're?
No, I'm
Yeah.
being totally
Yeah, yeah.
serious.
I hope
Like,
you are,
it's
yeah.
so crazy. And I don't know how anybody, after
Could put $1.
watching
yeah, I
that
know.
documentary, could put $1 into the stock market. Like, nothing is safe
Well, I read an
or
interesting.
nothing is fair. It's like,
I read an interesting thread this week. This guy was like, it seems odd that Roaring Kitty is back all of a sudden and tweeting the amount of money that he's dumping into it. Someone was like, it seems like there's money behind him. Like someone is.
has anyone seen this guy? Maybe the fucking CIA killed him and is just now using his digital skin.
I think he's back on YouTube. I haven't been looking into it because again, now that I'm out of it, I've buried my head in the sand. Like I'm not. I don't have Wall Street bets. I'm not. I don't want to know. You know what I mean? When I saw that, the only reason I knew that Nvidia went to 1,200 was because there was a news article about it the other day about how they had hit a $3 trillion market cap.
What is NVIDIA?
Nvidia makes chips. They make like for example, Simon, every Bitcoin miner uses Nvidia, like the RTX. I think we might even have one.
Mining system?
No, we have an AMD. It's not a mining system. It's like a chip, a processor. I know nothing about computers. I'm a fucking moron. But the point is, Nvidia makes the best, fastest ones. All the gamers use them. Anyone with a fucking sick PC probably has an Nvidia chip in there. And
That's the part I never understood about Bitcoin was the whole mining.
what do you mean?
Well, like you're just out there finding Bitcoin?
No, you're solving a problem.
Well,
And
imagine this, though.
Once you've solved the problem, you get a Bitcoin.
You're solving a problem,
Yeah.
and once you solve the problem, you get a Bitcoin. So it's like
So like if you had a quantum computer, if you right now, Simon, created a quantum computer, you theoretically, I believe, could mine the rest of the Bitcoin that exists instantly, and you would be the richest
so
person
why
on earth.
doesn't someone just do that?
Well, there's a race for quantum computing. Everyone's
Is
trying.
it all just a race to get the rest of the Bitcoin?
Who knows? No, because
I think it's going to happen.
I believe if all of the Bitcoin were mined tomorrow, it would fuck the market up.
But it's
hugely.
not like the teacher left an equation on the blackboard and anybody can just kind of come up and solve the equation.
No, that like right now it takes a shitload of like there was a while there where it wasn't even worth like the electricity to create a Bitcoin was more expensive than what a Bitcoin was worth.
Really?
Yeah. So they were like they were saying like people aren't even but there are people that have found ways around it. Like I saw there's a spa in New York City. Their whole thing is that they mine Bitcoin and the heat from the Bitcoin mining heats the spa. So they kind of double down. Like they found a way to.
That's hilarious.
Brilliant.
Isn't that interesting?
So it heats the water. And
Precisely.
shit.
So
That's
they
crazy.
kind of double dip where most companies are like, you know, we have to cool the servers. We're spending all
So
this
they're
money.
heating their pools and at the same time doubling up and digging for Bitcoin.
Precisely. Yeah.
Interesting.
The problem with Bitcoin is by the time it's all mined, half of it will be lost, gone, never to be found again, never ever retrieved.
Because people just have
People die.
accounts
Yeah.
that-
Yeah. Don't forget that guy has like $1 billion in Bitcoin in a fucking dump somewhere. Like,
Yeah.
If AI figures it has to acquire all the Bitcoin,
I mean, yeah. Like,
it'll mine it faster than anyone, blah, 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 blah,
but we'll know. You'll know right away.
because of price.
No, because the chain will like the chain will say all these Bitcoins have just been mined, and then everyone will know. Hold on, that's not good.
Unless AI is like, these guys keep talking about the basic income they're going to need for me to exist, I'll just do it for them.
Does
That's interesting.
does
That's very interesting.
Hyundai Makachita there? Does he
Satoshi Nakamura.
That's him. Does he own a
Nakamoto.
bunch of
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin?
Yeah,
He does.
I believe. Yeah,
They know that for a fact
I believe so.
because
yeah.
they can see it on the
You're not
On the
talking about the
blockchain.
science guy
So
that was on
this-
Joe Rogan. The world.
this person who may or may not exist owns all of this coin.
I believe
Nobody
so. Yeah.
knows who he is.
Yeah, correct. They believe no. There's a lot of speculation. They believe that he's dead. They believe it's this dude. I can't remember. He was like a
But at any point, this account could go active.
yeah,
And as long
and
as
rug
they-
pull a lot of
That the whole thing is, it has this built-in like trap door. You know what I'm saying?
Doesn't our current
No, I know. I'm not saying it's any better, Matt.
yeah.
I'm just saying on the very base level, anyone buying into this is like, it's like the casinos. There's this like built-in disadvantage because at any point they could rug pull you.
But think about it like this, Simon. Do you not believe that would have happened by now?
No, I don't know.
Well, just hear me out. Like when Bitcoin hit like 50,000 and you were worth $240 billion or whatever fucking stupid.
Maybe it's some weird thing, Matt, that like it goes doomsday when a certain year hits. You know what I'm saying? Could just be. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Sure. But I think the problem with what you're saying though, Simon, is like there's a theoretical threshold that Bitcoin caps out at, right? And what I mean is like if we're still using dollars to buy stuff, there's only so many dollars out there. We don't know that number, so who the fuck knows? But Bitcoin cannot be worth more than that. Right? Because if you can't exchange the Bitcoin for said money, then what is the Bitcoin worth at that point? Like,
Okay.
like hear me out. Like if we say there's $10 trillion in circulation right now, it's a weird thing to say Bitcoin is worth 42 trillion. Because how is
can
it
it be
worth
worth
more
more
than the
money
money
than-
we've
yeah.
printed? You can't.
I know, but what? Sorry, where is this coming from?
What I'm saying is like if this person that you're talking about, this Satoshi Nakamoto, if they're waiting
Hiroshima Nakamura.
sure.
Yeah.
If you're waiting, if their long game is like wait until it hits
I'm not even saying them. I'm saying like maybe this thing was just
NSA.
a
A lot of people think the NSA
escape-
made
an
it.
escape hatch in case the government ever needs to pull the rug on Bitcoin. Like right now, they've been able to monitor the market based on who even knows what. I don't know what makes the market go up and down for Bitcoin. But let's
Buying
just
and
say
selling.
there was ever like a GameStop type scenario. You know what I mean? And they're like, somebody tries to beat the system and they just yoink, yoink. Like, wouldn't it make sense that Bitcoin is owned by all the banks the same way the vape companies own all the,
Well, Bitcoin, I mean, the banks own
are
a
owned by the
shitload of-
tobacco companies?
the banks own a shitload of Bitcoin
No,
now.
but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Like, that would make a lot of sense. Everybody thinks they're going to this alternative, and really they're just going to another version of a rigged system.
Well, forget the banks. Let's say the NSA did create it. It would be a smart government hedge, would it not? Also, if you wanted to create, if you think about this, if you go back to everyone, like China wants a digital currency, right? That's always been the big conspiracy theory. They're trying to get us to a digital currency.
Yep.
I mean, the best way to do that is for the NSA to create said digital currency and then fuck off and create it as if it's out in the ether. We didn't do this.
Yep.
Like, I don't know if you remember this. Jimmy Kimmel did this thing a long time ago where there was this video going around of this girl in her dorm room, and she did a handstand, and then she fell over doing the handstand, knocked a candle over, and the candle lit something on fire.
Okay.
This video went viral, had like millions of views. It had been seen by so many people. And then Jimmy Kimmel comes out on his show, and he's like, yeah, so there's this video been going around of this girl doing a handstand and lighting her things on fire. And he's like, this was a social experiment that we did. He was like, we wanted to see if we could create a viral video. And then he shows the full video. And it's this girl doing a handstand, same video we've all seen. But where it normally cuts off, it doesn't. And she moves out of the way and the door opens and Jimmy Kimmel comes in. And he's like,
No way.
yeah, and the whole and he was like, we released this, we just put this video out on the internet, not on a Jimmy Kimmel thing, just random, just to see if it would go viral. And sure enough, it did. Where was I going with this? With
Yeah.
Bitcoin. My point is, with Bitcoin, like, that's how the NSA would do it. Don't make it seem homegrown. We have nothing to do with this.
100%.
Let it build itself for real. And then as a hedge, like I said, the government, like you were mentioning, the government already owns 10% of the stockpile. So they kind of control the ebb and flow of it.
And not only that,
But none of that's moved. Like, none of it's moved. In fact, most Bitcoin doesn't move, oddly enough. That's not odd because most of it's lost.
well, they just haven't had to do it yet.
Sure, but okay. I'm not saying that's impossible. Simon.
If I was the government and I wanted to make sure that we were always in charge of currency, I would just have a whole division that buys giant swaths of companies like these cryptos before they even start. You know what I mean?
But why? If you control 10%, that's you don't want to control all of it.
No, you don't. You don't need to control all of it. You just need to control a little bit of it.
Well, like I said, 10% is probably enough.
Sure. So what's 10% buying of whatever the fuck, some cheap ass Shibu Inu when it's worth nothing, you know?
Imagine if, dude, it's so crazy watching, like, I've seen so many people that are like, I invested $1,200 in Shiba Inu and I now have like 4 million. I'm just like,
It's so gross.
like,
It
that's
doesn't even
fucking
make
insane,
sense.
dude. That's so insane.
It's like every sane person was like, well, we can't invest in this. That would be insane. And then it just goes to the moon. Like it's
But I mean, Simon, I see people that every time crypto goes crazy, they just go and they're like, I have $100,000 and I'm putting 5,000 into 20 different shit coins. And like
one
all
of
you
them
need,
will hit.
it's kind of like angel investing,
Yep.
right? Where you're like, I'm worth $1 billion. I'm going to throw $100 million at 50 companies. And all I need is one of them to become Uber. And
yeah.
then,
Yep.
Speaking of going to the moon, what else is there for Tony to accomplish?
actually going to the moon, roasting the moon, going up there and
Love
being
it,
like,
but he's just he's
A
achieved-
round face.
He's got to have achieved everything he could possibly imagine.
Well,
There's no way he figured
wants to do a movie. That's what he said.
Kill Tony will get to Madison Square Garden 2 shows.
it's so funny though
Well,
that
it's going on Netflix. That's the next step.
Kill Tony is
Yeah.
Stop.
it's so interesting that they still have this like Hollywood dream. Like he even left, like you guys physically left Hollywood. Like you're done, but you still have
America.
this weird, like, yeah, I know. I
Apple
just,
pie.
Everybody still wants to like win that challenge to like have a successful film.
And I'm going to tell you
what
the
I
most
mean?
interesting thing in the post, Joe. about that.
And like you see guys like Burr and whatever, they want a film that everybody universally loves.
I just think that
And
like
you're not going to get that on.
comedians don't usually tend to write good films. Stand-up comedians.
Interesting.
Like I feel like it's a true like Tina Fey is like, would you consider her a comedian?
No.
Do you consider her a comedian?
Well, she's a comedian, but she doesn't do stand up.
She was on SNL though.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I consider her a comedian. I don't consider her a stand-up comedian, but you get what I'm saying. Like, I think that's that thin line. Stand-up comedians don't tend to write good films or funny films.
I'm trying to think of like a good, funny film that
Pootie Tang.
But we don't know who's writing behind the scenes, you know?
Louis C.K.
Well, Louis C.K. wrote Pootie Tang.
Yeah.
But I'm just,
But like
I'm trying to think, like his,
Rogan did a bunch of Seth Rogen wrote a bunch of good.
again, not a stand-up
No,
comedian.
I know.
He started doing stand up. He did.
But-
There's
but-
clips of him doing stand up.
But he was okay, yeah, sure, I guess. But I feel like he was a better like comedy writer. Do you get what I'm saying? I think there's a difference between like, of course there is, between stand up and being like a good comedic story writer. Like who else? Adam McKay.
comedic writer
Yeah,
with Will Ferrell, comedian.
yeah. But I think Adam McKay has even
Will
shown.
Ferrell isn't a stand up though.
No,
Bob Odenkirk, which is the weirdest one because he's gone so. Remember, it was Mr. Show.
Yeah.
with Dave Cross.
Yeah, he's a comedian who's gone full
Dave Cross,
full
comedian.
dramatic.
but you see, there's a good example. Like Bill Burr, super established comedian,
Hollywood.
went to his agent and was like, "I would love to be on this series. I'll do any part."
Breaking Bad?
On Breaking Bad, and that's
Really,
what happened.
right?
And he ended up being like not a huge part, but he was in a bunch of episodes. You know what I mean? Like
he was a great character.
How about this? At the end of the day, like to be a really amazing, successful comedian, you have to create a lot of content, and you just got to work at it. Whereas if you get to a level where all of a sudden you get to movies and someone writes the words for you, you just got to act. It's almost like a relief.
Can I give you a scenario maybe?
Sure.
Maybe some of these comedians are getting so big so fast and then doing these giant arenas that it doesn't seem like enough of an accomplishment. So they feel like the movie is that like part of the mountain of they're missing, you know?
Wait for the post, Joe.
I just think it's like I understand that Tony is probably like close to my age. He's probably he's probably like
He's
8 years younger.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. No, but I mean like he's
How
like
old are you?
I'm 41. I assume he's like 33.
He's like 39, I think.
Okay, so the point is he's very close in age to me, and I get it. We're probably the last of the like movies are important generation. You know what I mean? Like the kids now, they don't give like they're like I want to be an influencer. That's where and they're not wrong. That's where the real money is. Like if you really think about Hollywood,
40.
there you go. If you think about Hollywood, I bet you the amount of actors that have gotten filthy rich off of acting is so. I bet you it's such a small percentage. I bet a lot of actors make a good living.
Where if you get famous on TikTok, you're gonna make money.
Dude, you're making like so much fucking bread. Now, again, what is the percentage of TikTokers that are also making like 100 million a year? I bet it's a higher percentage of TikTokers making $100 million a year than it is actors.
Interesting.
Also, it takes a long time to make a movie. So as an actor, there's only like X amount of roles you can do in a calendar year. TikTok, like, dude, how many fucking 14-second videos do you think you can make in a day or a year?
You can get TikTok famous in like a week and a half.
And you can make so much bread. What I think is sad with influencers, though, is where you watch it like it become a job, and they're like you can see that they're forcing content.
I think last 4 years.
last 4 years it's worse.
No, they can get into it, last for
Got
4
you.
years, and then realize this is unsustainable. Like it's almost like NFL running backs.
Yeah.
It's fast and furious, and
But then there are certain guys who can just do it forever, like Aiden Ross.
no, he's only been done it for 4 years, and he is like he said the top percentile, and he's gonna wake up one day and go, "This is ridiculous." Like the Paul brothers have basically have done that. I think they're in their transition period.
Like, do you guys know who Dr. Disrespect is?
Yep.
Simon?
I don't know.
So he's a 6'7" video game. He's like one of the biggest streamers in the world. He plays this character called Dr. Disrespect.
I
He's got
know
a
who he is.
mustache,
Yeah,
wears
yeah,
a red.
yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
He's like 45 and he is so rich and so fucking successful. He still streams every day, but you can see that he hates playing video games now. Like, but the money is so good, but he does not have fun ever anymore. And it's like a chore. Like there's this other guy I follow who does this. He does this Instagram thing where it's like, how did I not learn this until I was 40?
Oh, I saw that guy. He's a comedian.
Okay, well, there's a bunch of guys that do it.
Oh, that guy. I know who you're
The
talking about.
Jewy
Yeah,
guy
yeah,
with the well, he just is. Sorry, he's a real Jewy looking guy.
Oh, no. The guy I'm talking about looks like a redneck.
Okay, so there's a bunch of different guys that do it. You're talking about the guy who like is always in his shop.
Yeah.
And he's like, you fucking kidding me?
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that guy. No. So I follow that guy too. There's another guy. He got big during COVID by doing these like little life hack things. Anyway, the point is now you can see he's out of life hacks and he's just forcing content that's like, it's really tough to watch. And I just feel bad for these people. Like, this is the job and the life you've chosen. Like, it's got to suck. But I guess the money's real
It's
nice.
only been around for 5 years, so there isn't even like a roadmap of what you're supposed to do, exit strategy. It's all new ground.
No, you're right.
There's a guy who does a pizza review in Ottawa. Have you
I've seen him, yeah.
I actually like the pizza review's not great, whatever, but I like it because
Ottawa.
I can see what's good.
Yeah,
Because you can clearly see by what he's holding what's going to be good.
Yeah.
I'm like, toppings underneath the cheese.
Simon's out,
Pass.
No, the internet is.
Who uses cup pepperonis? Count me in.
Yeah.
If you can create content, the internet is a playground to thrive and survive.
Okay, you have no more for Tony?
have
I don't want to save this for the post show. Simon, I'm going to get to that thing I was telling you outside.
Yeah, say it. Yeah,
Yeah,
good.
this is crazy. You might not be blown away. I've told a few people this week and they've looked at me like I'm a fucking idiot. So you'll probably look at me that way as well. I don't really care.
Okay, get ready.
So this guy marries his high school sweetheart. He has two.
Wait, first tell Kumar what it's called.
Whatever. It's called like the Reddit lamp. I can't remember the fucking name of it. It's called like the Reddit lamp story or whatever. And I'll get to that after. So this guy marries his high school sweetheart. He has 2 kids. And I'll make it shorter than it is.
Okay.
He's happy. He's so happy. He's happy as a pig and shit. He has his perfect life. And one day he walks into his living room and he sits on the couch and he looks over at where there's normally a lamp. And the lamp is there, but everything's super pixelated. It's like blurry. And being a guy, he's a little bit concerned. But he's like, I'm not going to the doctor. I'm not going to tell my wife. I'm sure it'll go away. Goes to bed, comes down the next day, hoping that it's now no longer pixelated. Looks over, sees that it's not only pixelated, but now through the pixelation, it looks like the lamp is upside down. And so he's like, fuck. So now he's a bit worried. He's like, I have to tell my wife about this. Tells his wife. And she's like, you have to go to the doctor. So I think the story is he goes to the doctor and they do a bunch of brain scans and they end up putting him under. And he comes back to, he wakes up and he's a 17-year-old kid in full football gear. And what happened was this 17-year-old kid was playing football and he got fucking smoked in the head and he was out for 10 seconds. And in that 10 seconds, he lived half a life where he married his high school sweetheart, had 2 kids, lived the perfect life. And this guy did a Reddit AMA, the only interview he's ever done, where he was like, ask me anything. And he goes on to say, like, this ruined his fucking life because he's like, I long for my wife and kids. And he's like, I know that they never existed. I know that these people aren't real, that they're fabricated in my mind. But he's like, what I lived was so fucking real. And he was like, all I think about is my son running down the hallway to me. And dude, it's heartbreaking. It's fucking insane. If it's real, of course.
Dude, that's so weird. That's so weird.
It makes me think of Ari, though, and his like salvia story. Remember where he was like, 4 months, I lived this fucking full life. And you're like, dude, the brain can do that.
Or maybe that guy.
He's living in an alternate universe.
Well, no, he has a wife. He has a kid. He got some fucked up brain tumor that was making him see things pixelated. And then died and ended up in this other place.
Oh, that's even crazier.
And now, or he's living this life, which isn't real.
Wakes up in this 7. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Either way, it would, like I said, I'm just going off of this story.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like one of those internet stories
Sure,
you
sure,
see
sure.
on YouTube that are narrated by the voice that is clearly automated.
Yeah, the AI. Oh, dude, that reminds me. This is so interesting. Someone posted this earlier this week. This is a great fucking hack. When you're searching Google for something, in the prompt right before 2023, it will remove all of the AI created bullshit that you want to avoid if you just write into the prompt before 2023.
That's gonna be the word of the year.
Before 20.
No prompt.
Oh, interesting.
Prompt is the Kamar. That's something you're right.
This
about.
is how bad this guy wants to be right about stuff. He's
Yeah.
making like word of the year. Word
No,
of
but
the
that,
year.
I think that
fucking-
will be word of the year. I think prompt
No,
will
you
be
might be
word
right.
of the year.
What about Riz?
Oh, chat. Chat
Riz
is going
coming
to
on.
be. Chat will be word of the
What's
year.
up, chat? Oh yeah, guys, let us know what you thought of all these shows this week. If you listened or what you think of us, send those dick pics. I give Tony a 3. I just wish this was the first interview after I'd seen of him because he had talked about it on a couple shows.
Yeah, you've already heard all the Tom Brady roast stories. Yeah.
There's nothing new, but I give it a 3, and yeah, it's great. Congratulations, Tony.
I give it a 2.5. I love Tony. Just this episode, there was no need for this.
I think I would like to see Tony be one of those guys who doesn't get the crazy money swelled head. Because that's kind of what makes Kill Tony so good, is it's like connected to the people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I don't think it ever loses the connection. Like, how about this? If the money already hasn't gotten to his head, I don't think it's going to. Because I think he's already making a ton of fucking
Again,
money.
he's been.
I'm sure.
He's
And what
been here for a while. Like it's built.
And what I mean by that, Simon, is like, because of the nature of the show, it always is for the people. They're always going to have regular people on. It's always just going to be Tony roasting regular people. I guess your problem is like once he's worth what Joe Rogan's worth, you're going to be like watching this guy worth $500 million roast all these poor fucking
No, I
schmucks.
don't care
Like,
about that because he
He
gives
does
people.
have the nobody factor, or did have the nobody factor.
whereas now he's a rich guy poking fun at
But
fat
he's been
white
around
girls.
for a while.
He gives people careers, and that's great.
Yeah.
I guess it's just like we count on Tony to be that arbiter of good taste, right? Because he's the
You
guy.
don't want him to become a gatekeeper. Is that it?
I mean, he's already a huge gatekeeper. There's no.
Is he?
I think so. You have to get through Tony to get on.
You have to
Kill
get through
Tony.
the bucket.
To get through the bucket.
So how about this? Do you think if you go on Kill Tony and bomb, do you think that's like the end for you?
No.
No, dude, there was a guy who went on and bombed and then talked to Tony for like 25 minutes. They found out that he had like a brain problem because he got beat up in the army by his fellow soldiers.
Next thing you know,
he
he's
was,
making out with chicks.
weird. Then he's making out with chicks, and they called him out. Every time somebody bombed, he would come out and do another minute. And they were all like, so. But Tony has this thing where he likes helping.
Disenfranchised people.
I don't think disenfranchise is the
You
word.
definitely
I
can
think-
change your life in 5 minutes, though. This is the number one place for that to happen, which it used to be a Carson moment or whatever.
Well, and this is like, if Tony takes you under his wing,
Sky's the limit.
you are fucking famous,
Yeah.
you know?
Drake's DMing him.
Yeah, that's wild. I mean, that's how you know you've made it. Not that I ever want Drake to DM me, but you've definitely like.
You don't want Drake to DM you?
No, I have no desire to talk to Drake. Yo, fam, how you doing? Bye. Everything irie?
I don't
Thanks,
think
chat.
that's how he DMs.
I think that's exactly how he DMs.
In
yeah.
some sort of
Yo,
weird-
fam.
how do you-
Patois, yeah. What's guan, fam?
It's a different keyboard.
Yeah. Yeah. Wagwan.
Yeah, you got the wog next to the wog.
Everything good, fam? That's it. We're done.
That's crazy. That's all you have for Tony?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Well, that's it. If you made it this far, I mean, that's a show. Thank you. We love you all. If you made it this far, maybe you're willing to go a step further. We have a Patreon. If you want to support the show, you can do so for as little as $5 a month. Head over to patreon.com/JREE podcast. For that $5, you'll get the post show and a bunch of old stuff we did. That's really it. We want to thank all the Patreon members. We want to thank you, the listeners. We hope you guys have a great week. We hope you enjoy your weekend. And as usual,
I meant to say this. I'm sorry. I'll say the line in a second. But this probably means Joe's all caught up with episodes. No more in the bank. Because otherwise, why make it a 2-episode week? It's just senseless. Keep your eyes open.